Hello, what the heck is that? Oh my goodness. Hello, everyone. Welcome in. Welcome in. I hope you guys are all doing well. I hope you're all having a good day today. I almost did not play this game today. I almost played oneway.exe because I was like, it's kind of stormy. It'd be a good night for a scary game. But I decided not to because I have work tomorrow, and last time I played that game, I was so scared I couldn't sleep because I'm a coward. Also, I'm a bit too tall on my screen. Hold on. I'm down just a bit. I've got to stop moving my stuff around every single stream, but I can't help it. But I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys are having a lovely day today. I was going to talk about my day, but I totally forgot what I did. I had a smoothie. I got a smoothie for lunch, and that was really nice. I've been doing a lot of sewing, which has been fun because something about me trying to sew brings out the full evil extent of my cat. Hi, Orad, welcome in, welcome in. That's fun. I hope you're having fun with whatever's going on there. I feel like that's how I'm going to feel by the end of this. I am so excited to get back into this game. I was running a little bit late because my computer audio cut out. And that was one of the reasons I was late. And the second reason I was late is because I was like, I did say I tried to do a British accent this time around. So I was watching a tutorial, and the one I was watching was making me so mad because he was like, I think he said the word controversy, like controversy or something. And I was like, you're lying to me. That's not true. That you're just lying to me. But the entire video was like, repeat after me and you'll be able to do a British accent. And I'm like, that's so annoying. I was so mad. I was so mad. Well, I'm mad at you too then. Don't say it like that's not how you say that word. That's just simply not it. So we'll see if I can manifest doing the British accent. I might not be able to lock in. I tried my best though. Okay, fine, you're forgiven. It's just a terrible way. What's the other thing they say strange? I don't believe they say controversy like that. Controversy? No, wrong. What's the other British word? Aluminium instead of aluminum? Terrible. No, they don't. Am I the expert? I am now. I've watched 2 tutorials and I'm now the expert. I don't know. I don't think I ever met a British person in real life until like 3 years ago. I think 3 years ago I encountered the only British person I've ever actually met in real life. I guess like I've heard British accents before. But I think the most exposure I had was watching Mary Poppins as a kid. I didn't watch a lot of movies. So what can you do? I guess we might as well get started. The best way to begin is by beginning. Or whatever they say. I did watch one British YouTuber, I want to say. I don't know if he was British or not. I don't know. Well, I guess it doesn't matter now. I keep thinking I don't have the game open because the way everything is lined up with OBS. Crazy. I think it was Kick the PJ or whatever. I think he was at least a little bit British. I don't know. You are running through a forest. It is late at night and the sky is as black as pitch. Wait, I'm a fool. We're not doing this. Get out of here. Return to the main menu. We're going to the castle. My bad. It's castle time. I'm so excited. So, you want to go to the castle? Good idea. All decent fairy tales tend to conclude in castles once they're... Guess who bought a book to write down all these words? So, first word going in the book. I need to go back and see which other words I need to add to the book. Beleaguered? What is that? Okay, hold on. Let me write this down. I cannot do this every time there's a big word. I'm such a slow writer. But I'm like right off the bat, 10 seconds in and there's a word I don't know. I heard another word in a video essay I was listening to earlier, actually, that I meant to put in my dictionary. What was it? Verisimilitude? And I looked up the definition and it was like to be very similar, and I was like, don't do that. You can't do that to me. You have to give me something more direct. I don't know how to use this in a sentence. I thought it was a good word too, but I mentioned it to my coworker and she was like, I hate that word. And I was like, okay, but when I told you there were words I don't know, you said, yeah, what about the word lugubrious? So who's the one bringing up stupid words now? Because it's not me. I think lugubrious is fun. I just don't like the definition of it. Lugubrious to me is like when you're reading a fantasy story and they have to go meet like the evil goblin king, and the evil goblin king is like living it up really lavishly, but he's still kind of nasty. Because he's a goblin, so it's kind of like, yeah, he is living lavishly, but everyone else thinks this is pretty disgusting. That's lugubrious to me, but that's not what that means. And that's also way too specific of a definition to have a word for it. I had never heard it before. Well, I'll learn how to say it in a sentence. One day I'll figure it out. I could just throw it out there and not really know what it means, but I'll figure out how to use it correctly. And people are gonna think I'm really annoying because I'm gonna start throwing out all these big words I'm learning. But I'll try. And you know, all this and I still don't know what beleaguered means. Beleaguered. Put upon heroines are heroines are finally able to wed the handsome princes they once dreamed of. Why are we dreaming of princes? In this story? Why bother trying your luck with the shore, which may very well be deserted, or the village, which will be full of dirty, barefoot peasants? I had a crazy thought. Because we wish to never be alone, and all these people we're meeting are kind of alone now. And I'm like, were they? Oh, yeah, we are very tired and harassed. Hi, Chad, welcome in. We're learning words. We're learning a lot of words today. But I was thinking, our character is alone. And we made the wish to not be alone. So I think, if all the other people we're meeting are alone for some strange reason, I think they either also wish to be alone, or like, because they're like, whatever force we wish to was like, they have to be alone now. So it's the same theory as like, I think the plague was on purpose. Just the words. We encountered the word beleaguered, but I can't say words. I don't know any words. Why bother trying your luck with the shore, which may very well be deserted, or the village, which will be full of dirty, barefoot peasants? Okay, rude. It is far better to skip the suffering and go straight to the grand finale. That is very astute of you. She's gonna kill us. After she's so kind to us, she's gonna kill us. I feel like it's the pattern. So. Yeah, so many words are words I kind of know but don't know how to say out loud. It's crazy. I did not realize you had it in you to be so mercenary. I can only wonder what you will uncover during your moonlight meanderings. The night is far from over and your adventures are only just beginning. Okay, must be nice. I hope that you have brushed up on your curtsies. It might come in handy when one is interacting with a sovereign. Royals can be temperamental after all. Oh, I'm sure. If you fail to treat them with the prerequisite amount of respect, you might come to regret it. I think we might regret it no matter what. You follow the path which leads to the castle, supporting yourself on weary, aching legs which feel ready at a moment's notice to detach from your hips. Ugh. You are little more than a wisp of a girl, but you have been running for so very long, and your feet are so very numb. You feel like a great lumbering thing, clumsy and ungainly. The soles of your feet are screaming at you. You need to lie down, and quickly. You only hope, as you continue to run, that you will find a spare room available for you in the castle. You do not know what exactly awaits you at the castle, but you have visions as you run of a vast, opulent dwelling. This dwelling will surely be full of finely furnished rooms in which you might rest your weary head. There must also be a king and a queen inside this castle, you ponder, who will be kind and wise? And what of their children? What of a princess? Every good castle must possess a princess who will take pity on you and your plight. You can imagine the face of this generous princess with ease, thanks to the fairy tales you read in abundance as a small child. The princess will be fair of hair and blue of eye, with soft pink lips pursed like rosebuds. Her limbs will be slender, her hands dainty and unsullied from physical labor, and her sensibilities will be sweeter than marzipan. She will be kind to you and compassionate, just like an older sister. You do not know what older sisters are like, though. Interesting. Or younger sisters, for that matter. I should know this one. Marzipan is, I want to say it's, I feel like I see it used, like, decoratively or as, like, a fondant, but don't quote me on that. I should know. I should know. I watch so many baking shows. And I know they're always like, I don't know, they throw that word around and I kind of just like, yeah, go for it. That does sound good. That does sound really good. Is it used kind of like fondant sometimes? I feel like, I swear. Okay. I knew it was like a decorative dessert thing. And it's like better than fondant because fondant kind of sucks a little bit. Yeah, fondant sucks. Like, it's useful, but it's kind of the worst. This is interesting though, because when we went to the village, it was like, we don't know what moms are like. And then when we went to the other thing, it was like, we don't know what dads are like. And then this one is like, we don't know what siblings are like. Sisters specifically. You are only guessing. You are not a complete fool, however, despite your tendency to daydream, and you do have a few reservations. Monarchs do not, as you know from voracious reading, have the best track record when it comes to caring for the peasantry. Was there not a very famous queen who once said, is that word pronounced like cavalier? That's the vibe I'm getting. Wave of her hand that the hungry peasants in her kingdom should content themselves with cake if bread was not an option. You think that this might be a misquote, but the point still stands. Cavalier, dang it! Dang it! This is terrible! I thought I was getting the fancy words right for one singular time. Oh well. There's always the next fancy word that's gonna show up in like 2 sentences that I won't know how to pronounce. The royals are supposed to grant their subjects... Never mind! It's already here! Terrible. Terrible, awful. In their time of need, this does not always happen. In fact, it very rarely happens. Kings and queens and princesses and princes are just people at the end of the day, and they are subject to the same... Why is it getting harder? Caprices that all humans are. Maybe it's just not my day. They can also be careless and selfish and inconsiderate. I'm so glad you know how to say these things. There's no guarantee that this mythical princess of your imagination will help you. Why, there's no guarantee that this mythical princess exists at all. Still, you must try. Yeah, I feel like this entire thing should have been like a learning game. I wish there were flashcards before I had started playing it. I mean, if it's wrong, we can be wrong in this together. I'm not even trying. You know so many words. This is terrible. I know no words. Next, you've got to play a difficult reading game. You've got to do all the reading, and next time I'm just not gonna know it. I'm gonna know the words, and you're not gonna know the words. That's the ideal outcome from this. I lock in and I learn more words than everyone. It is this hope which keeps you going. You continue to run to the castle. It takes some time before you finally emerge from the woods, but finally you do it. Oh, yeah, that's not one where I win, though. I don't know words. There's only one way to say it, I feel like, and it's the way your heart wants. The way your heart feels like it's pronounced is how you just have to lock in and say things, I think. I'm giving up. This is me justifying me giving up. I wish I could do that. But whenever I'm reading and I see a word, I'm like, context clues. Yeah, tomato, tomato. I don't know how I say it. Zato? I think I say Zato. But like half the times it's like, okay. What usually gets me is like vague feelings where it's like, there could be a specific meaning, but I don't know the feeling well enough, but I know it's a feeling. I think sometimes like it'll describe a piece of land and I don't quite know what it means. And then sometimes clothing words get me a lot. I heard one recently and I forgot what it was. Oh, I'm so mad. I feel like the thing that gets me about Zato is like pronouncing the T's is really weird. I want to say like I just feel weird overly pronouncing T's. Yeah, there's so many weird little like accessories and stuff, and I think the only reason I have like a decent enough grasp on stuff is because like I sew. Like I've been working on like cosplays and stuff, and I think that's the only thing, because I've had to like look for very specific shaped clothing, and I'll roll up to my grandma and I'll be like, what is this? What is this? And she'll be like, whatever you're calling it is wrong. It's this instead. So that's the only reason I have any hope. But I don't, like, I'm not like that good at that. How much time, you ask? I cannot answer that. Did I not say that time had begun to lose all its meaning? The forest is behind you now, at least, and all the awful nightmares which dwelt within it. And now they dwell outside of it. It is still cold, though, and foggy, and very, very dark. The sun has yet to rise. You can see the moon more clearly now, though as it hangs above your head, round as any pearl or orb or crystal ball. Hi, Socks! Welcome in! Welcome in! I hope you're doing well. I hope you're having a good day today. We're going to a castle, and we're going to meet someone who's going to be really nice to us, I'm sure. So that's fun. Well, hopefully soon you'll be doing good and not just doing. Nice crisp piece of meat is a crazy rat. What does that mean? Where did that come from? I'll never know. What is that? Interesting. That's fun. Caked up on a Yuri Wednesday afternoon? Double cheeked up on Yuri Wednesday afternoon. I think it's technically nighttime, kind of. I don't know when after evening. Evening. I forget about evening sometimes. Oopsies. I still think it's nighttime. You can't convince me it's not. What is it? Oh, we just read a line that was relevant to this. Something. Shoot. If there's no bread, you should be happy with cake. But now you get the best of both worlds. Or something. I don't know. The moonlight shines down upon the castle, which looms in front of you like a cliffside. Yeah. I don't... Leave me alone. I didn't... It was just in the game. I don't even know what it said because I've been too busy not knowing words. I don't know. I honestly don't know, like, much about Marie Antoinette. But anytime I learn about, like, a historical woman that they're kind of like, this woman sucked, 9 times out of 10, it's like, I think she just had an evil husband. I think that's what happened. The stone edifice. See, like, that's part of a building, but I don't know what that means. The stone edifice of the building is imposing, and it drowns you in the shadows darker than the depths of the deepest ocean. Yeah, happy Women's History Month. Oh! Well, didn't multiple Henrys do that? I know there's the musical about it, which is very bad that that's where my historical knowledge of that kind of remains. Name every woman? Dolly Parton. I can't do this again. I think I said Dolly Parton last time. Hold on, I'll come up with another woman. I don't think my mom counts. See, I feel like because it's the first woman I'm thinking of, it's got to be a really good one, which is why Dolly Parton is always a strong choice. But then I think about it for too long, and then, like, I get to Ellen DeGeneres, and that's not a good choice, and I don't want to be like, yeah, second woman ever, Ellen DeGeneres. No! It's gotta be, like... Is her... Does Joan of Arc count? She's cool, I think. I don't really know. I don't know history, but that's another woman. I'll think of one more. My good friend, Nova Eos. There's 3 women, and that's close enough to all of them. The castle is not all dark, though, not like the night sky above it. When you crane your head, you can see that there are lights flickering within in the narrow-slitted windows. I should be looking around my room for women's names. I turn my head and the first thing I see is my A3 shelf, which is a game that has almost all men characters and 1 woman. So, shout out to, I think her name's Izumi Tachibata. Fly high A3 English server. Terrible. I think it's 1 woman and then... I want to say 24, but I think they added 4 more, so there's like 28 men, at least. Because it's just a theater troupe. And she's the director, and everyone else is a guy. Terrible. Terrible and awful. When you crane your head, you can see that there are lights flickering within in the narrow slitted windows. Oh, you know what? If I read, all the books I read are by women for the most part. The issue is I don't remember their names. Terrible. I'm kind of the worst. It would appear that somebody is home, but then the one woman I remember whose books I read, I didn't like her books. They were okay. The king and the queen, perhaps? What of their servants? What, perhaps more pressingly, of their guards? You half expect as you stand there that armored knights will accost you for daring to approach the castle of King and Queen so-and-so. I have so many books that are by like the same author. Actually, you know what? I do. There's another woman who I've been reading all of her books. It's actually, have you guys heard of a book called The Convenience Store Woman? Because that book, I read it and it was a really easy read, and by the end of it I was like, I get it. This makes sense. But the premise of The Convenience Store Woman is there's a woman, and she's kind of like, she's not married, but she's not interested in getting married. She doesn't really like feel love or anything. She just really likes her convenience store job because it's familiar, and she's like, I show up to my convenience store job, and when I'm there, I'm a convenience store worker, and I'm not really a person. Like, that's my identity. That's what I want to be. That's consistent. But people are starting to be like, well, why aren't you married? Like, why are you still working at a convenience store? Like, shouldn't you be settling down? Shouldn't you be like trying to get a better job? And her excuse originally was like, oh, the convenience store, like, I have health issues and it's just easy for me. Like, she doesn't really, but people aren't buying that anymore because that's just like a lie. She's just like, even maintaining friendships, like, she's just not interested. And so, like, by the end of it, it's kind of this thing where she goes through, like, she's just a convenience store worker. That's all she wants to be. And I was like, that was a good read. Like, I enjoyed reading that. Even if at times I, like, was beefing so hard with all the characters because I was like, why are you doing this? Everyone here sucks a little bit, including the main character. Not because she only wants to work at a convenience store, but because she lets a random man live with her and he sucks. But I read that book and I was like, that's good. And then I get another book by the same author. And I would like you to imagine the present, this man specifically, like, this man very specifically was a very evil man who should have been in jail. And she was like, hey, I can see you're hanging around outside the convenience store specifically to stalk one of our workers. You're not supposed to be doing that. Come live at my house. And it's the worst. It's the worst. But take the concept of somebody not really connecting with, like, being a human. Like, they don't really feel like they have a human identity, and instead of being a convenience store worker, new book, same feelings of like, I don't understand romance, I don't understand why people do all this stuff just to like keep up appearances, and actually I'm also an alien. And that's the concept of this next book, except this next book, the first one was literally just her figuring out how to work at a convenience store. This book is like, hey, what if it got worse? What if it got worse? What if that exact same concept, what if we took that concept and genuinely made it evil? Like, convenience store woman, I'd recommend it. Maybe, but also I'm like, I don't buy anything from the author. Actually, she's a little bit scary. Earthlings, hard no. I would not recommend that under any circumstances. it has such an aggressive start. I don't really want to like get into the details. But it starts off pretty okay. Actually, on the back of the book, it's like, oh, her childhood best friend. And then you get into the first chapter and it's like, it's her cousin. It's her cousin. It's incest in the first chapter. And by the end of the book, it's cannibalism. They murder 2 people and cannibalize them. But by this point, I had already, because I liked the first book so much, so I bought that book. I bought Earthlings and another one of her books, which is a collection of short stories, and I bought them at the same time, and I waited too long to read them, so I couldn't return them. So I was like, whatever, I'm gonna rip off the band-aid, I'm gonna read the collection of short stories. And the first short story, some of them are like perfectly normal. Some of them are like, this woman lives in the city, but she used to like, that's essentially what it is. But like, that's not even her worst book. And that one is bad. But this collection of short stories, there's a woman who's like, oh, my grandma used to live on a farm and like, we would like eat the vegetables there and they were really good. But now that I live in the city, I like can't handle the taste of like store-bought vegetables. They're just not as good. So she starts like eating weeds around the city. And then she starts trying to get like secretly get her coworker to also eat weeds around the city. It might be the worst one. I didn't read the other one, but that one, it's pretty bad. But then that's like, okay, perfectly normal, I guess. I guess if you want to eat weeds around the city, live your truth. Scavenging isn't so bad after everything we've read. The first short story in this book is like, what if when people died, we turned them into furniture? And what if this was like a really important thing that we did in society? And it was like, okay. What? Though there was also... That's not even the worst one in there. That's not even the worst one in there. That one is like mild. There is another one that's like, what if when people died, we ate them? What if instead of a funeral, we all gathered around and we ate them? And that's what they... What? Terrible, terrible book. Just like, I think this author does not feel like very connected to being a human, but every single character is like, well, why would you do any of that? And it's like, well, some people do feel connected to being a human and some people don't. And if you want to live your life your way, that's fine. But you can't sit there and be like, why don't we cannibalize people? That's insane. It's definitely, there's definitely something wrong. And it's like, you've written the same book 4 times and they kind of get worse. What if instead of writing another book, we went to therapy? The eating one, the cannibalism one isn't the worst because of the cannibalism. It's the other things that happen in that one. Though there was one, I think my favorite story in that, I mean, like, anything really, anything other than writing another book. Well, if I could get a little bit graphic, I would tell you the part of the story that I personally found the worst. But it's kind of really explicit a little bit. Not like overly explicit, but it gave me the heebie-jeebies. Well, they spend like a whole day like there's companies that do it. The people die and they send off the body, and they send back the body, and they're like, we prepared it, it's all in miso soup now. But my favorite story from this collection, because they were just all very strange, and I do think like the one where it's like, oh, when people die, let's turn them into furniture. Just because miso soup, I guess, is easy enough to prepare. There was a reason for it and I can't remember it. like the turning people into furniture one, I was like, this is strange, but I guess I can see it was kind of framed as like it's almost disrespectful to waste people's bodies. And so like, it was a little bit environmentalist to be like, the best thing you can do for somebody is to turn them into like, find a use for them. Which on one hand, I was like, I guess I get it. But on the other hand, she was talking about like bowls that were made of like human skulls. And I'm like, bones get brittle. Yeah, it was definitely something where it's like, for the sake of this short story, I will look at it and see what you're saying. I'm not putting a dead body in my house. You could not get me to do that. Oh, but my favorite short story. So, okay, before I get distracted again, there is, this girl, her dad puts up like a curtain in her room. People soup, okay. And this story is from the perspective of the curtain. And so, this curtain is very, oh my gosh, terrible rat names all around. Good job, guys. Oh my gosh. This curtain kind of like spins, like it's just a curtain and it's chilling. And it spends its time, you know, in this girl's room, like watching her grow up. And then the girl becomes a teenager and she comes home with a boy. And this curtain is like, what? And this curtain falls in love with this girl's boyfriend. So the curtain's in love with the girl's boyfriend. And so at one point, hello, hi Daily, welcome in. We're talking about the worst book I've ever read, but the best short story and the worst book I've ever read. Curtain Yaoi. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. So so at one point, like the girl and her boyfriend, they like are sleeping, and then like the girl wakes up and goes off to make breakfast, but the boyfriend is still sleeping. And so the curtain has a name, by the way. The girl is like attached to the curtain, like she really likes this curtain, so it's kind of like a love triangle where she's like she loves her boyfriend, but also she, like, I think the curtain at first is akin to a baby blanket for her. So she goes off to make breakfast, and so the guy is laying in bed and the curtain's like, oh, like he's cold, and so the curtain like flies off the rungs and like lays itself over him. And so like after that happens, like the boy like kind of snuggles into the curtain a little bit and like says his girlfriend's name, and then the girlfriend comes in and is like, what the fuck are you doing with my curtain? And like almost like she's like scandalized by this, and he's like, oh my gosh, I don't know, I thought it was you. And she's like, how did my curtain get down? And he's like, I don't know. So she's scandalized by this curtain. And then at some point, the girlfriend and the boyfriend are talking, and she's like, I just don't think it's going to work out. Like, I think this entire time I've been in love with someone else. And you just reminded me of them so much. And the boyfriend's like, okay. So the boyfriend's, again, this is in the girlfriend's room. So the boyfriend leaves and the boyfriend is never coming back. It actually happened the other way around. That was on the curtain. The curtain initiated that. So the girl breaks up with her boyfriend goes, wraps herself up in the curtain and starts crying, and the curtain gets depressed. The curtain is like, I'm never blowing in the breeze again. It's over. And it's like, what? And I think the implication is that she's in love with the curtain. Which is crazy because the curtain is not in love with her. The curtain fucking hates her. The curtain gets so mad at her and just thinks she's the worst because the curtain is so in love with her boyfriend. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful short story. And frankly, I think reading everything else that I read has made it worth it. I can't say I recommend any of the other books though. I can't say I recommend that whole book unless you're willing to read some like crazy stuff. Yeah, maybe a story time stream. I have thought about that before, so maybe one day I can read you guys the curtain story. Because it is crazy. Maybe actually, if I did an unarchived story stream, it's too late. The rat's already there. It's already there. You can't revoke the rat. That's practically like, you can't kill the rat. That's mean. It's too mean to kill the rat. But maybe if I did like an unarchived stream, I could... You can't abort it. It's already been born. I could read the one story that I thought was just so terribly... The why don't we eat people after they die story? Because I'm gonna be honest, like... That story, I was willing to look through the lens of like, I guess if you're going with the whole premise of like giving them like one last purpose, this also kind of seemed to be not post-apocalyptic, but like a definitive shift in society that had, where it's become more focused on like survival a little bit more than like survival, efficiency, and like resourcefulness rather than a focus on like family values. And if I'm willing to look at it from that lens, and I'm like, I can see this story, but then the ending of the story happens and I'm like, that's just kind of nasty. I guess a little bit, but we're not at the point of like cannibalizing our loved ones after they die. So, you know, maybe one day we'll get there. Maybe one day we can all we can all be I don't really want to be miso soup. I'm not a big soup person. When I die, put me in a cheesy gordita crunch. And that'll be my my dying wish. Terrible and awful. You half expect as you stand there that armored knights will accost you for daring to approach the castle of King and Queen so-and-so. Do you not know your place, foolish peasant girl with the dirty skirt? Be gone with you. You are not, of course, a peasant. Your family is a wealthy one, or rather, they were before your father made a series of poor financial decisions. This has gone very, very downhill. I don't even know how we got here. Oh, I was naming women. See what happens when you make me name women? I can't do it. I not only can't do it, I will derail. You do not look like a young lady right now, though, with your dirty face and your dirty skirt, which is torn at the hem. If any guards were to take you for a vagrant, it would not be surprising. But though you stand there dithering, your filthy fingers hooked in the front of your filthy skirt, you do not hear any cries. They are mad about our skirt. Nobody sounds the alarm. I wish women were real. I wish there were more than 3 women out there. Oh, more than 3 women, and I want the terrible women to be real, except for the one who may or may not have wrote a story about a curtain stealing someone's boyfriend. Nobody sounds the alarm. Lights might be on inside the castle, but there's nobody outside of its perimeter standing sentry. There's nobody to impede your entry, and the elaborate iron gates, which are set into vast stone walls about the castle's exterior, are open just a crack. Though it'd be a trivial matter to slip inside, there's nobody to stop you. Why are you trembling now, you silly thing? You have come so very far, it would be an act of foolishness to turn around now. Go on, go! You inhale, perhaps in an attempt to screw up your courage, which has, at long last, begun to fail you. And then you step forwards. You slide between the wrought iron gates, as stealthy and as secretive as a thief, and cross the path which leads up to the tall, imposing structure. The domed doorway which leads into the castle itself, hewn from stone, is closed, but, at a push of your palm, it swings inwards. The door creaks alarmingly as it opens, the sound loud enough to split the silence like a thunderclap. You inhale at this and glance around, your eyes darting hither and thither. If there are any guards posted about the castle grounds, they should have all been alerted by that sound. Will they come for you, at long last? What will happen should they catch you? Will they throw you in the dungeons? That does not sound like a pleasant way to spend the night. At least you would have a roof over your head, though, and you would not have to keep walking. Your feet really do ache. You stand there for an indeterminable amount of time, your heart pounding a panicked, irregular rhythm in the base of your throat. But no matter how much time elapses, no guards come. You're thankful for your good luck, though it does make you wonder. Where is everybody? Why, it is almost as if all the people in the world have disappeared. Could you be the very last human left alive? You frown, then press your palm back against the door. You push less cautiously this time, heedless of the loud sound which splits the silence. There's no point in worrying about the guards, not when they might very well be non-existent. Your entry to the castle secured, you then take a step forwards. The door swings shut behind you, and the resultant slam makes you jump. You did not expect it. Your heart knocks against your ribs, and, with wild eyes, you glance about. You are standing in a vast entrance hall made of stone, which splits off into any number of passages. At the very end of the hall, meanwhile, there's a large, elaborate staircase, one which seems to extend to the heavens themselves. It is dark inside the hall, but there are numerous torches set in sconces in the stone wall, which are aflame. They offer some relief from the shadows. You can hear the faint sound of the wind outdoors as it moans against the castle's impervious walls, but you cannot hear any footsteps. You cannot hear any voices. You cannot, more importantly, hear any people. Maybe the castle is empty. If that is the case, though, then who lit these torches? It is a curious conundrum. You muster up what remains of your courage, then cry out, addressing the empty hall in timorous voice which fails to properly fill up the space. Thank you, Socks, for the hydrate. I was just thinking. Sometimes I get too into the flow of reading and I need to stop, but I'm like, no, I'm in the flow of it. But I'm thirsty. Hello, you say, your eyes wide? Is anybody there? That's the closest thing to a direct quote we've gotten from the player character. Your voice echoes through the vast empty hall, but it is met, yet again, with silence. I cannot say you are too surprised, but it is somewhat disappointing. Not one to be deterred, you try again and again, your voice growing louder with each subsequent attempt. No matter how loud your voice, however, it fails to reach any ears. If anybody is here, they do not seem particularly sociable. That'd be crazy. What is it? Monster House. That's Monster House. We're in Monster House. Monster Castle. That, or perhaps they simply cannot hear you. Could they be in another room? Yes, that must be it. You will never find that pretty fairy tale princess of your imagination if you stand idle, you know? It is time to get to work. Put those legs of yours to good use. Not knowing what else to do, is there anything else you can do? You begin to explore. You examined the rooms first on the ground floor of the castle, which are of similar scale to the impressive entrance hall, large and richly furnished, but utterly unoccupied. After some time of aimless meandering, encountering nobody save the ghost of aeons past memorialized on portraits upon the walls, you muster up the courage to ascend to the second floor. Oh my gosh. Be really good. I'd watch that. I feel like that'd be romantic. What's more romantic than like, well, on one hand, I'm like, I can see the romance there. They say home is where the heart is. And if you're in love with your yandere girlfriend. Crazy. This floor too you examine, wandering through a seemingly endless series of hallways until, at long last, you find a door which is ajar. From between the crack in the door and the jamb, you can see flickering light, irregular, yes, but it is light nonetheless. Well, I guess at this point it is good to make me stop and reflect sometimes. So I guess in a way, thank you for trying to name a rat JFK. It's fly high to the 2 rats we've lost today. They're gone. They're dead. Could it be from a fireplace? That would suggest then that this room is occupied, unlike all the others. Perhaps the kindly princess you dreamed of will be awaiting you in this room. It is with a trembling hand that you press your palm against the door. You push it. Then you step inside the bedchamber, which unveils itself to you. Shyly, you stand in the threshold of the chamber, much of your courage extinguished, and gasp. The bedroom itself is gorgeous. It is a chamber so luxuriant, not even the shadows can obscure the fine craft of the furniture within it, or the rich patterns on the walls. It is the girl inhabiting the chamber, however, who truly takes your breath away. This is fun. She's spiky. Sitting upon the velveteen sheets of the towering 4 poster is a girl in a sumptuous red gown who seems to be of a like age to you. You do not have a clear view of the girl's face. Her head is bowed, her gaze directed downwards at her lap. You can tell from her hair, however, and from her slender calves, which protrude from beneath the hem of her dress, that she's very pretty. She's not the mermaid, but it's a different vibe. They've all given very different vibes. The mermaid... oh my gosh, have they all been blonde? My initial theory was that it was all the same person. So maybe I was cooking with that. The girl's hair is golden, just like the freshly cut wheat, but it is the red of her dress which truly captures your attention. She is so striking you cannot look away from her. The girl is not alone in her chamber either. She has a companion, though this companion is not so half endearing as she. Well, yeah. Hi Karaba, welcome in, welcome in. I hope you're doing well today. It's just a terrible doll. It's the worst. Even the doll is blonde. Oh! Terrible. Sometimes I do a stream and by the middle of it I'm like, this is kind of a nightmare, and I feel like that's where I'm at right now. Thank you for lurking, Karaba. So sorry for anything that might happen in the next few hours. I think maybe we're past the worst of it, but when you hit rock bottom, you can take I was about to say a hammer and start digging. No. If it's rock bottom, it's not a shovel. A drill? You don't drill it. Well, Whatever. 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 Hey, I'll get my fill of yuri somehow. I'll get my fill of yandere somehow. I'll get my fill of toxic relationships somehow. The only people you're hurting, the only ones hurting are you guys. So you guys do what you want. I'll go read Love Bullet and cry after this. In her lap, perched upon her velvet skirt, is a doll. So there's a few possibilities. The doll's hair, like that of her mistress's, is golden, though much of it is hidden beneath a bonnet. The girl is adjusting the china teacup held in the doll's tiny hand, while the rim of the cup glints in the light which exudes from the fireplace. If the girl is of similar age to you, it seems strange that she would content herself by playing with dolls. Is she not too old for it? This girl would be more at home, you decide, at a ball, wearing an extravagant gown, speaking with wealthy noblemen, perhaps even princes. Yeah, I'm like, is this going to be a mad father situation? Does she... Well, the issue is if she turns us into a doll, then we're not going to be her most special doll because she already has a doll. So this doll is going to have to break for us to become a doll. She can't have a doll collection. That's too much. She should not be sitting in what you presume is her bedchamber, adjusting a teacup in a doll's hand. But you are not afforded much more time to stand there marveling at the girl because she turns. She raises her head. Then her eyes meet yours. You thought the girl pretty when you first observed her, sitting on the edge of her plush velveteen bed examining her doll. You're right, we would get to... See, that's the thing though, if we're not her most specialist doll, we'll end up on a shelf or something. We've got to be the favorite. Maybe we will be though. Now she's looking at you, however, her face illuminated by the flames in their grate. You can see that you were mistaken. She is not just pretty. She is beautiful, so much so. It is breathtaking. I can't do that. I can't do that. I'm not even gonna try to act like I can do that. I can't even like, yippee, very well because it's too high and I can't do it. I did not practice a British accent for you to start making new demands. Terrible. She looks as though she has stepped out of the pages of a picture book. She is simply too perfect to belong in this world. I have no swagger. I have no swagger, and that's why I'm letting all these women murder me. You don't have to bribe me. It's not happening. I couldn't make it happen if I tried. If I could do it, I'd be the most annoying person alive. Oh my gosh, I'd be trying to voice act all the time. I'd be like, hey guys, check this out. It's me, the person from Oran High School Host Club. But I can't, so I don't. Perhaps she's some kind of vision, a waking dream, a hallucination. I did not listen to some British person say, what did they say? The word is controversy. Controversy? What? I did not hear that for nothing. It's gonna be the worst British accent you've heard in your life. But no, she is none of those things. The doll in her lap is a cold, hard thing made of porcelain, and it is unflinchingly, reassuringly real. If she were a mirage, surely she would not be able to handle physical objects such as this. It is strange, though. The doll, though immaculately made, looks oddly imperfect when compared to the girl who is holding it. She's so startlingly beautiful, she even puts man-made representations of feminine charms to shame. The sight of her makes you feel rather weak. We are so useless. We are so useless. Oh, this is so fun. You always have had a fondness for fair maidens, haven't you? You're rather hopeless when it comes to them, even worse than a knight errant from a courtly legend. Your aesthetic appreciation is not particularly ladylike, but... well, it is not every day a girl encounters an elegant beauty like this. Attired in red, illuminated by the firelight. I suppose I can forgive you for this rudeness, as too can the girl. I imagine we've walked in and just immediately we're like drooling. Like, we're just so like dumbfounded. She does not seem to be the type to hold a grudge. Oh, the girl says in a voice that, surprisingly enough, is far less refined than her appearance. Yeah, eyes pop out of head, train horn appears, awooga, steam comes out of ears, heart thumps out of chest, badunk, tongue rolls out on floor, yeah, the whole 9 yards. None of the words I studied are in this sentence. Terrible dilemma. We'll just see what happens. I saw a thing that was like, oh, the pronunciation of thoughtful. It was like thoughtful, and I was like, thoughtful? What? Okay, whatever. It is good to see you. I've been waiting. Has she? That is news to you. You blink, perplexed, and a response on the tip of your tongue, but you are unable to expel it into the ether. I practice British, and that's what's happening. The girl is setting her doll aside, then she stands, the hem of her dress swishing about her legs. Nimbly, like a ballerina, she canvasses the space between you. Her room is so very large, there's quite a lot of space, then takes your hands in her own. Oh. This is a lot of talking, actually. Well. Oh, she's holding our hands so soon. Oh, it's over. I was gonna say we have to kill her first to establish dominance this time around, but I don't see it happening, considering we're already, like, drooling on the floor. You must, the girl says, her eyes aglow with excitement, be my new lady's maid. It's been quite a while, but it's such a relief that you finally arrived. I knew that you would. You'd never leave me alone. Not when you knew how long I was waiting. Oh, I'm so happy. What? That's not British at all. I've just fucked it up. The girl's good mood is contagious. So much so you find yourself being swept away in it. Very embarrassing to show up, like, and have her immediately be like, you're the maid? I get the feeling we're gonna be like, yeah, that's us. Of course, anything you say. Yeah, I'll do it. Like, to anything she says. You are tempted to accept any identity she might press upon you. And there it is. You have never been a maid before, but you might not mind being this girl's maid. She does not seem like a poor mistress to serve. Not if she's always this kind. She hasn't even done anything. She just said, oh my gosh, you're my maid now. You cannot mask the confusion, however, which flickers across your face. You are not a good enough actress, and in any case, this is all happening too quickly. Why, you barely know this girl. Why is she being so very familiar? Yeah, our character likes to act like we're not, like, we don't fold immediately. It is with blank bovine eyes that you examine the girl. Your befuddlement is pronounced enough that even the girl, despite her good mood, notices it. She frowns. Oh, she's mad at us. Oh, she's not happy with us. Then she says, her finger sliding away from your own. Or am I mistaken? Are you not my new lady's maid after all? The disappointment in the girl's face is abundant, so much so your heart clenches. You do not know her, she is still a stranger, but you are struck all of a sudden with the intense desire to appease her. You do not want to let her down. Yeah, we're just casually breaking in. Give us your stuff. See, I thought she was hitting us with the bombastic side-eye. The thought is devastating. You are not aware, you tell her, that you had applied to be her maid, but if this is what she wills, you would not be opposed to it. You pray that she forgives you, though, for your discombobulation. You come from a distant country and you have traveled for many miles. You do not know where you are, and you do not know who she is. What? You don't know who I am? It is regrettable, you tell her, but no, you don't know her, though that is no fault of her own. Why, you have spent such a long time running, you hardly even know yourself. Ah, so you're a fugitive then, from another country, I see? I won't pry into your past then, if you'd rather forget about it. I don't mind sharing my past with you, though. Everybody in this country knows who I am. After all, or at least they should. Now this is quite the impressive boast. If it were to come from the lips of another, you would find it unpleasantly arrogant. You do not think, however, that this girl is trying to show off. You get the feeling, instead, that she is merely telling the truth. If you don't have the pleasure of knowing me, then allow me to do the honors. My father and my mother were the king and queen of this realm, and I am its princess. I've lived in this castle all my life, so I don't know much about the outside world, but I know that the other countries do exist out there. I presume it is from one of these foreign countries that you have come from. It is very good to meet you. I've always wanted to talk to somebody from overseas. Oh, opportunity. I practiced this one. He said, what did he say? Opportunity. It feels like quite the opportunity. Hehe. The girl giggles at this and you smile in response. I'm just assuming everyone is dead. There's 4 people left alive and we're one of them. We're 25% of the population. You tell her, unthinkingly, that it is your pleasure really to meet her, or at least you mean to. It's Tuesday, innit? You only get halfway through this remark when the full gravity of what the girl has told you sinks in. Between opportunity and thoughtful, I'm so prepared. You come to a stop. Then you stare. Did she just say she was a princess? Yes, that's right. I'm a princess and one day I'll be a queen. After I've done a little bit of growing up. My ministers don't think I'm ready to run the country just yet, but I've been doing my best at my lessons. One day I'm sure I'll be the best queen there ever was. So, she really is a princess. That makes sense, you suppose, given she lives in a castle, but it comes as a surprise regardless. You hadn't known before you entered this chamber that you were trespassing on a lady of such great renown. Why, if she willed it, she could have you executed for your carelessness. An ugly red flush creeps up your face, a flush which is far more lurid than the princess's dress, as you look to your feet. Bashfully, you stammer out a new address that you are very sorry for intruding upon her, and you hope she can forgive you. Well, I think her father is dead, so I won't have to say that. I won't have to say that. The less of the accent I have to do, the better. I think it's the all caps which is intimidating me. That sounds very booming, and I can't do that. Oh, it's all right. Think nothing of it. I don't mind, really. We all make mistakes, and anyway, you weren't to know. Who said you weren't from around here? You said you weren't from around here. You nod your head in silent affirmation. It isn't a complete lie. You really are not from this country. You are not from this world at all. How wonderful. I'll look forward to picking your brain later. All of my servants come from the nearby village. Their tales are all the same, and so are their superstitions. I wonder... Did she say something? I kind of get so locked in on reading, I forget what she says. I feel like the world of like this society, how this society functions. Yeah, I just feel like I embarrass myself a lot. I think I've embarrassed myself enough for a lifetime. Such as The consequence of becoming a VTuber. I mean, we also seem to be outside the flow of time as well right now. I wonder if she has anything to do with the people of the village being dead. Or, well, no, they might just show up. I don't know. I could do with a breath of fresh air. My last lady's maid told me I was too impetuous, but I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting a bit of adventure. Not that I've ever been afforded much of that. I've been shut up in here for so long. I hardly ever get the chance to talk to other girls my age. That'd be crazy. I feel like somehow everyone being dead does connect to us. The Yuri plague? Oh my gosh. My last lady's maid was older than me, and so was the one before her, and the one before her. Some of the princess's fair mood seems to dissipate as she speaks, her expression turning, by degrees, into something rather more pensive. But I haven't seen any of my old lady's maids in a while, or any of the other servants for that matter. They've all disappeared. Now that is quite curious. How could a whole household full of servants simply disappear? That, I don't know. This castle was full of servants once. My lady's maids, and my undermaids, and my scullery maids, and my housekeeper, and my cooks, and a large retinue of retainers. They're all gone now, though. I think my ministers must have sent them away. I don't know why they would have done that, though. They didn't explain it to me. But then again, they never explain anything to me. They still treat me like a little girl. I keep forgetting when I say things like little instead of like, I keep saying little. Instead of like, I turn it into a D sound. I keep forgetting. I can't do that. I can't do that. I'm British now. I've got to lock in. It's so tiring. She said that her minister sent her servants away. What of her parents, the king and the queen? Would they not be the ultimate authorities in the castle's hierarchy? They would, yes, if they were still alive, but they're not. They died a long time ago. I was raised for most of my life by my servants. Oh, you answered, and then you flushed. You hadn't known. It's all right. You don't need to apologize. I'm just happy I have you now. I was getting sick and tired of only having my dolls to speak to. They aren't the best conversational partners. You can imagine so, yes. You doubt any doll, even when made by a talented artisan with an intelligent face indistinguishable from a human's, will be very good at answering back. Oh no, they aren't. They're hopeless at it, really. They're so stony-lipped. You've no idea how much of a relief it is to see you. This castle is so big, and without my servants it feels so very empty. There it is! It gets so lonely here. There's the line. Good stream. Good stream, guys. We did it. And we survived. We survived this time. Now that is an interesting turn of phrase. It catches inside your head like a burr. Have you heard it before? You do not have much time to ponder this, however, because the princess is speaking anew, in that curiously conversational manner of hers which does not seem particularly princessy. Maybe she learned how to speak from her servants. That would explain why her consonants are so unrefined. Oh, but listen to me yammering on again. It's a bad habit. I really must put a stop to it. You're probably tired, dear one, from your travels. Would you like me to show you to your room? Dear one again. Oh! We're in. Yes, the princess announces before you can say anything in reply. I think I'll do just that. I might show you a bit around the castle first, though. It's like a maze in here, and I wouldn't want you getting lost. You'll be staying here for quite some time, after all. The princess then hastens to take you on a tour of her home. Oh. That's a bold statement to say, oh, you're staying here. Fortunately, she does not show all of the rooms in her abode, and neither does she offer overly long descriptions as to what the few rooms she does show you are used for. She does, however, pause by the kitchens, whereat she offers you some victuals. Hey, little mama. Why are we staying for so long? Once the growling in your belly has been satisfied, the princess then resumes her journey. She leads you down a dark, twisting hallway and up a series of equally dark, twisting steps until she arrives, at long last, before a door. We go down a hallway and up some dark, twisting steps. We're like in a tower. The princess pushes the door aside summarily, thus permitting you entrance to a small, humble bedchamber. I know there are nicer rooms in this castle that we could be staying in. If everyone is gone, let us stay in a nicer bedroom. Let us stay in your room. You up? This chamber is not half so opulent as the grand bedroom in which the princess resides, with its resplendent four-poster and its richly patterned wallpaper. This room's ceiling is not as high, and the singular bed shoved against the wall is thin and narrow. The walls are an unassuming beige, and the floor beneath your soles is of warped wood. Yeah, please. I'll sleep right outside the door, please. There is a malodorous scent, too, which hangs in the air, one of disuse and general decay. Ah, we're in the mold room. Get the feeling that nobody has slept in this room for quite some time. That might explain why it feels so very cold in here. Though if the princess's tour of her castle has taught you anything, it is that it is cold in every room in her abode. Now here we are, the final stop of our tour. This will be your room, dear one. I hope it's to your liking. I've lost the voice, it's gone. I need more words. The princess, despite her exalted status, looks somewhat uneasy as she observes you, her eyes upturned like those of a loyal dog's. Is she concerned about your reaction to this room? Perhaps she is afraid that you will turn up your nose at her kindness. For a princess, she is awfully eager to please. This unexpected contrast between the princess's lofty title and her ingratiating attitude makes you smile. The room is rather scanty, yes, when it comes to its contents, but it is more than passable. It has a roof and 4 walls, and though it is cold, you fancy you will feel warmer once you have slipped beneath the bed sheets. Your room is not quite so fancy as your dormitory at the conservatoire, and neither is it so large, but it does have one glaring improvement over your previous lodgings. Yeah, this is very fun. You will not be expected to share it with anybody else. There's only one bed. Oh my gosh, I know we just said we don't have to share it, but I mean, she's already in here. I make her walk all the way back, you know? And this bed belongs to you. Sharing is caring. You think that the peace and the quiet will do you a world of good. You tell the princess as much, and she smiles. That's good. I was worried you wouldn't like it. I know it isn't much to look at, but it's one of the nicest servants' rooms we have in the castle. Most of the maids sleep beneath the roof, in this teeny tiny room, which is all cramped. There's 10 beds up there, and they're so close together. There's barely any room to pass between them. I forgot. Because we're a peasant, we have black mold immunity. I thought it was perfectly ghastly when I saw it, the last time I went up there. Not that I was supposed to be up there. It was a rainy day, and I couldn't go outdoors, so I was doing a bit of exploring. If the housekeeper had known I'd been skulking around, I don't think she would have been best pleased. Well, in any case, nobody sleeps up there anymore. The scullery maids are all gone now. I couldn't put you up there, though, in the attic. With all those empty beds, I don't think it'd be very cheery. You're not just a scullery maid. You're my lady's maid. Oh, I guess we got the job. That means you deserve good lodgings. It'd be an insult to offer you any less than this. One thing I think is fun, like there's the tropes version, but also, like for a princess, she's very spiky. Like definitely kind of, not what you would expect a princess to, like, look like. The crown of teeth is really good. I do like how we have not paid any attention to that. We're just like, ah, yeah, beautiful princess, love her. And we're not like, she has a teeth crown. Now it's getting late. You'll have to forgive me for rabbiting on. I've heard it's something I tend to do. It's a bad habit, and one that is unbecoming for a lady. Yeah, she's not like the other princesses. She's... well... The housekeepers warned me of this enough times. You reassure the princess to the contrary, smiling as you do so. You do not mind if she talks too much. That is better than not talking at all. Her affable nature makes it easier to spend time with her, manners be damned. You were always scolded too, back in the conservatoire, for your behavior. You know full well how aggravating it can be to be upbraided, not for any particular misdemeanor, but for being yourself. Well, I'm glad you understand, the princess answers with a giggle. I really should be off, though. It's bad manners to keep you, especially when you look so sleepy. Get some rest. We can talk more tomorrow, if you don't mind my ceaseless prattle. I'm glad you seem to appreciate it, at least. Though I'm sure you'll get tired of it eventually. All of my old maids did. Well, I'm built different. I'm a little bit more useless than all your other maids. The princess departs, and in her absence, you take a seat upon the bed, your new bed. Cannot help but think that this is all happening very quickly. It does not seem like very long ago that you were still in the forest, running for your life amongst the tall, imposing trees with their gnarled, grasping branches. The forest might as well be a distant memory now, though. Is there a specific, like... who is it? You are indoors, inside a castle no less. You've been given a room in which to sleep and clothes that you might wear. It seems premature still to declare that you are out of the woods, in a metaphorical sense, I mean, but things could certainly be worse. I feel like it's almost... oh, I feel like that's the color scheme, for sure. Like with the red. I feel like there is something about the design that like does ring a bell, but I don't think it might just be like, I've played so much Shining Nikki and Infinity Nikki over the years that I'm like, I feel like the dress reminds me of something I would see in there. You force yourself to stand on legs which feel too weary to support you, and change into night clothes hanging in the wardrobe. The night clothes do not fit you perfectly, but you are too tired to care about that. You are too tired to care about much of anything. You retreat to the bed and slide beneath its sheets. Then you let your eyelids fall shut. You exhale, and lulled by the breeze which blows outdoors, you fall asleep. Every time we fall asleep, we get a nightmare, so I'm curious to know what's going to happen in this one. You're so very tired. Your sleep is a deep, dark one, darker even than the furthest abysses of the nighttime. Like the nighttime sky, however, which shimmers with stars, your sleep is not devoid of those prismatic fragments you humans call dreams. Though, in this case, I rather think your nocturnal imaginings are worth rather more than that. They are not dreams, are they, to which your slumbering mind is subjected? You know that they are not. Otherwise your body would not be so very cold, not so clammy. The images that flicker beneath your closed eyelids like the ghostly images in a... Okay. Okay, you're just mocking me now. You're just mocking me now. An aphenokistoscope? Were not conjured from within your mind. Conjured. They were instead taken from your memories. You are not merely dreaming, you are remembering. You remember the girls who slept in your dormitory and how they always hastened to use the shower first so you were last for breakfast. You remember how when you finally did arrive at the dining hall, the most desirable morsels had already been snaffled up by the girls who got there earlier. You struggled too to find a seat once you finally did get your hands on some food because nobody ever wanted to sit with you. The other girls all acted like you were a leper, save for when they wanted favors. They never asked for these favors, mind, for why would they? To them, your father's prestige did not matter. They were all wealthy ladies, too, many of them wealthier than you. I do know what leprosy is. I do. It was the pronunciation of the word. That's what's getting... Half of these are like, I've never seen this in my life, and the other half are like, I've read the phrase so many times, but I've never said it out loud. That's the other half of what's getting me. When everybody has the airs and graces of a princess, how is anybody supposed to stand out? You stood out the least in your class, perhaps because you were one of the smallest, the frailest, the sickliest, who always came down with colds in the winter. Your poor health did not stop the other girls from treating you as a servant, though, when they remembered that you existed, of course. I'd be using my disease against them. I'd be like, I have a cold, I'm gonna sneeze on you, back up! It was your lot in life, as you dwelt within the stone walls of the conservatoire, to carry school bags across the field like a pack mule. Then, come the evenings, the girls in your dormitory had you sewing on missing buttons and ironing out the creases and wrinkles in their uniforms. If there was an odd job that needed performing, you would always be asked. But these girls did not ask you. That would have been too civilized. They ordered you instead, and as they ordered you, they laughed at you. They laughed and they laughed and they laughed. The laughter hurt, but it hurt considerably less than the kicks did, and the slaps, and the pinches. Oh my gosh. Once during an embroidery lesson, one of your classmates had an accident with her sewing scissors. She stumbled, or at least she pretended to, and before you knew it, the silvery blades of those scissors were embedded in your left palm. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This happened quite some time ago when you were even littler than you are now, but you can still remember it. Honestly, if the main character is so strong, I would not have made a pact with something to be like, I don't want to be alone anymore. I'd make a pact with something to be like, kill them! Get them out of here, kill them! Get rid of everyone else. It hurt a lot. The scissors were sharp and they perforated your skin, not all the way down to the bone, but enough to bleed. Your wound bled bright red like strawberry jam all over your embroidery. Then when your professor saw it, she shrieked. Her face turned as pale as way, and she looked, for a few moments, as though she might faint, though you were the one who was in pain. Your professor looked at your face, she could not bear to look at your hand, then demanded to know why you could not be more careful. Her tone had been an accusatory one, almost as if you had stabbed yourself in the hand with your scissors to goad her. The pain in your hand hurt, but the giggles of your persecutors hurt all the more. They never were punished for that. Perhaps your professor did not care enough to punish them. Perhaps she, like everybody else, thought it was all your fault. The wound, when all was said and done, was not too deep. You did not even need any stitches. It healed well enough in time, on its own, though it still left a scar, a white raised thing like a crescent moon. You still have that scar. You do not know how much blood you lost. It seemed like a lot back in the classroom. You could smell it in the air, sharp as iron. But it could not have been that much, evidently. Your wound had been more serious, perhaps your professor might have cared. Perhaps your classmates, too, would have felt some modicum of guilt over what they did. But this seems very unlikely. You know that your blood meant nothing to your classmates. Why should it? If you meant next to nothing, then the blood in your veins was, if such a thing is possible, even more inconsequential. You feel disoriented when you awake, at long last, with the rising of the sun. You do not remember what you dreamt, but you do not think that your dreams were of a particularly pleasant nature. So, in the one dream, we had been, like they had kind of buried us, but not really buried us, but we were buried. And the other dream, we got pushed into a fountain. And then this dream, we get stabbed in the hand. If they were, your heart would not be hammering so. Ill at ease, you glance around. You are lying in a narrow bed in an unremarkable room, one with dull beige walls and a warped wooden floor. Where exactly are you? This does not look like your dormitory in the conservatoire, not unless it has shrunk threefold overnight. She could turn us into her most special doll, if she's sewing. Your brow furrows as you attempt to recall the events of the night prior, until, with a gasp, it all clicks into place. You remember now. You were running through the woods trying to escape from... You shudder. You do not want to think of what it is you were trying to escape from. You presume that you must have given your hunter the slip, though, because you were still in one piece. The one piece. Awake and alert enough to face the dawning of a new morning. You still have all of your limbs, and your facial features appear to be in the correct configuration. That is more than enough to be getting along with. You look to the foot of your bed, then blink, bemused at your discovery. You can see, lying upon the sheets, a garment. 2 garments, actually, of black and white, folded into a neat white square. What could that be? A maid's outfit? If so, it would not be too surprising. You can now recall your visit with the princess the night prior, and her assertions that you must be her lady's maid. That's... Why aren't you in uniform? Well, if that is the role she wants you to assume, you have no qualms with it. It is far preferable to the other role you played last night, that of a startled quarry running from its pursuer. You press your fingers against the humble maid's attire. Feel surprisingly soft to the touch, not coarse like you expected. These clothes are rather fine. Did the princess put them here? If so, that is all the more reason to wear them. You're not churlish enough to deny her hospitality. We meet one beautiful woman who's immediately like, put on the maid dress. And we are immediately like, yeah, we'll do it. You rise from your new bed, then undress yourself, unbuttoning the front of your plain white nightgown and setting it aside. This task accomplished, you then clad yourself in your new attire, black, white, and eminently sensible. You feel very far away from the girl that you once were. Your face might be the same as always, but something within you seems to have changed. You are no longer a student, not as long as you mean to reside within the princess's castle. You would far rather be her servant. Assured of your newfound identity, you retreat from your chamber, then make your way into the mistress's bedroom. The castle is a large one with many, many rooms and many, many hallways to connect them. For a brief while, you find yourself horrendously lost. You cannot remember where the princess's bedroom is. You are beginning to feel rather disoriented when, to your relief, your eyes snag upon a stairwell which looks rather familiar. Could this be the way? You ascend these steps, your footfalls cushioned by the plush carpet which lines them, then find your way down to the very same hall you traversed the night prior. If your memory does not fail you, then the princess's bedroom ought to be... Yes, it is here. You rap upon the door, but receive nothing in the way of a response. Is the princess still abed? You wonder briefly whether you oughtn't to wait until she has risen of her own accord. But no. The sun is high in the sky, and it would seem a shame to let the princess sleep through the day. You ought instead to rouse her. That seems like the sort of duty a lady's maid should attend to. Oh, princess! Hello, princess! You enter the princess's bedroom and glance about. Her room looks much the same as you remember it from the night prior, though the ceiling seems even higher when viewed in the wan morning's light. You can see now that there are fewer shadows to impede your view, How very opulent your young mistress's abode is. Her armoire is large and imposing, as is the grate in which you will be expected to keep a fire lit during the nights. The princess herself, meanwhile, is curled on her side beneath the sheets, looking rather less grandiose than her title would suggest. She is attired in a nightgown adorned with frills, and her hair split across her pillow like spilled gold. In her slender arms, meanwhile, held to her chest, is a doll, the very same one she was cosseting last night. You suppose this doll must be her favorite. Not for long! Idly, you wonder what the doll's name is, though you do not suppose it matters all that much. It is time to wake your mistress. Call out to the princess, but she is largely unresponsive. Her eyelashes are still sewn tightly shut and her lips pursed in slumber. Oh my gosh. You know how you can like pay for a cameo? I should just pay that guy to come onto my stream and do all the reading for me. You purse your lips too and sigh. Well, nobody ever said your job would be easy. Once again, you call to the princess, and this time she replies. Her response is not a favorable one, however. She sighs and turns away from you, her doll clutched to her chest. Just give me a little longer. The princess sounds so enfeebled. Oh, she's so enfeebled. Oh, we're just saying stuff now. I've never looked at somebody and said they were enfeebled. That's a crazy thing. But you do not take pity on her. If you have learned anything from the conservator, save for knowledge pertaining to the respiratory tracts of fish, it is that one must be cruel to be kind. You do not think this adage was practiced with any great success in the conservator, but perhaps it will have more of an impact upon the princess. You tell her, once again, to wake up, more sternly this time. You will not let her sleep, for she has slept long enough already. It is very slovenly, really, to still be abed at such an hour. Yeah, how are we going to, like, show up and be like, yeah, we'll be your maid. We'll be your maid. What? Yeah, we'll put on the maid dress, but the moment she's like 5 more minutes, we're like, nuh-uh, you can't sleep for 5 more minutes. Oh, defeated, the princess sighs. All right. I can see that I can't twist you around my little finger. Oh, new outfit. I have to re-find her voice. I'm up. You don't need to nag me. Well, foolish of me to have assumed the dynamics here. I'm not the expert in that. So, once you have roused the princess from her bed and you have put her doll to one side, you set upon her. That's spelled differently. You aid the princess in the brushing of her hair, a chore to which she submits willingly, like a cat might allow its fur to be brushed. You allow yourself to ponder, as you run the bristles of the princess's brush through her hair, how wonderfully soft it feels against your skin. But a curious query from the princess. Are you all right, dear one? Brings you back to your senses. You were rather lost in thought there. Look lively now. You wouldn't want the princess to catch wind of your salacious thoughts now, would you? I thought that you had learnt your lesson about that already. Suitably chastened, you finish with the princess's hair, then set the brush aside. Now that the princess's tresses have been taken care of, you must start on her attire. The princess remains seated upon the edge of her bed, looking up at you askance. She does not ask you to avert your eyes, and nor does she make any motion of divesting herself of her nightgown. It really does seem as though she expects you to undertake this task on your own. Yeah, we haven't described what her hair smells like, so we're normal. We're normal. We haven't tried to steal any of it. Is that all right? You ask the princess as much. You do not wish to impinge upon her modesty, but she only laughs. Does she have a little... Hold on. Does she have a little fang? That's so cute. That's so cute. Yes, that's all right. It's what you're supposed to do if you're my lady's maid. I'm used to being dressed and undressed. I'm not a bit squeamish about it. She might not be squeamish about it, but you are. Our vampire... Our vampire girlfriend, please. Please. Oh, my neck is so exposed right now. And oh my gosh, have you even had breakfast yet? Oh my gosh, hold on, wait. You have never seen a naked woman before excepting yourself. Even then, however, you have always dressed and undressed furtively, not wanting to examine your body for longer than is strictly necessary. You have never much liked the way that you look. You make a few more mumbled objections, but the princess sweeps them to one side easily. It's all right. I might be a princess, but we're both people underneath all of our clothes. I doubt we look much different. You are not sure about that. You have not yet seen the princess unadorned, but you already know, to look at her face, that you are different. She is much, much prettier than you are. But she is waiting, and you do not wish to keep her any longer. You steady your nerves. Then you reach out with trembling hands, and you begin to undo the buttons which run down the front of the princess's nightgown. It's really fun. Like, she just, like, we're like, oh, we don't know anything. But she just is like, nope. You're the new maid. You have to. You're my... I feel like the dynamic is we're her maid. We're like her, like... We're her maid and kind of like her little annoying dog. But she's our girlfriend. That's the dynamic I'm getting so far. You work as quickly as you are able, which, given how badly your hands are shaking, is not very. You fumble with a couple of the buttons, flinching as you do so. The princess, however, seems blissfully unaware of what it is exactly you are doing, or not doing, for your fingers have begun to seize up with the front of her nightgown. She's not even looking at you. Instead, her gaze is directed beyond your shoulder, to the windowsill and the sky beyond it. It isn't particularly sunny, but I don't think it's too cold outside. Going for a walk might not be a bad idea. What do you think, dear one? You think that you would like to finish undressing the princess as soon as possible, so you can make some progress on dressing her again. Okay, I'm mixing up the dynamics again, but somewhere there's a girlfriend and somewhere there's like somebody with the dog energy. The sight of all this exposed skin is bad for your heart. Fortunately, you are able to make quick work of the princess's nightgown despite your initial mishaps, spurred on perhaps by your anxiety. You bid the princess to stand, which she does, and neatly she steps out of her nightgown, her motions once again as graceful and as fluid as a dancer's. This task completed, you search hurriedly, worriedly, for the princess's red dress. Where is it? Cannot find it. Sweat begins to prickle on the back of your neck. Your palms, meanwhile, feel uncomfortably clammy. The moments pass awkwardly, uneasily as you search, the princess standing there all the while as naked as the day she was born. Why did you not find her day dress before you stripped her of her night one? What a fool you are! The princess, noting your panic, giggles, then says, "Are you looking for my dress?" This is very silly. Like, this is just like a normal, like, casual thing for the princess. Like, she's not even worried about it. And we're like, oh my gosh. Oh my, we're like dripping sweat. Yes, you reply, your face flushed. That is what you were doing. I thought so. I did wonder, before you started undressing me, why'd you not ask me where it was? Maybe it slipped your mind? Yeah, I think one of the wolves is kind of a pervert, and the other wolf is most definitely fully a pervert. That's the two wolves. It had slipped your mind, yes, to your shame. You were too busy trying not to fixate upon the princess's bared skin to think about how best to conceal it. My dress is in my... armoire, whatever, the princess says, glancing over to the aforementioned piece of furniture. That armoire of hers is an intricately carved wooden structure, large enough, or so you estimate, to fit inside it enough dresses to attire a whole ballroom's worth of princesses. There's so many words. Yeah, like 3/4, maybe not 3/4, maybe closer to like 6/8 of a pervert, and then 2/8 of like afraid.
I'd like to wear the red one. It's my favorite. Would you be a dear and fetch it for me? I don't want to rush you, but it is rather cold in here, especially when I'm still naked.
She raises a good point. Yeah. We're not aura farming, we're nervous pervert maxing. Well, I hope you and your stinky gray cat are having a good time. Maybe you've been ew naked women and ew men, both in the span of this stream. Is it like clothed women specifically? Or like nothing? Yeah, okay, ew people in general. That's what I thought might be the result of this, but I figured I'd ask. Just to get her. I don't know why I asked. I think I'm just nosy. On one hand, I'm like, ew, people, but on the other hand, I'm like, women? Well, we can say don't yuck our yums. Actually, okay. Can we say that, can we judge someone's yum if their yum is people furniture when our yum is our toxic girlfriend burying us alive and then we die? Is that maybe before we yuck anybody else's yums, we need to self-reflect and look into our own souls. Yeah, I'm like, and she's only naked because she's changing clothes right now, but I don't think she knows how to do buttons. Well, then I guess if you're yucking your own soul, then it's fine to yuck other people's yums. I will. Well, she's royalty. She might know how to do buttons. Maybe she should not. I'm just convinced. I'm like, we just showed up and she's kind of like, I can't get my dress. You have to do it. And I'm like, are you doing that because you don't know how? Maybe she's one of those people who just like, she'll like wriggle out of everything. And she's... Oh my gosh. A new competitor. I think she's British. But she does have... She's kind of aesthetic, so... You turn away from the princess and make your way to her armoire. Once there, you open its wooden doors and peruse the clothes hanging within. Yeah, unspecified fancy. It feels British, though, based off how some of the words are spelled with a U. It is just as you expected. Inside that wardrobe lies numerous dresses. I almost read that as numerous diseases for some reason. Guess I'm just got being sick on the brain. All of them finely sewn and decorated with no shortage of ribbons, lace, and iridescent pearls, and she chooses the teeth dress. You find the princess's red dress soon enough, then hurry to her side. With your spoils in hand, you hurry to dress her, concealing once again the princess's pale skin beneath layers upon layers of soft red velvet. This dress does eat. I kind of want to make this dress. She is easier to look at now, you think, with her skin concealed. That might have been the most nerve-wracking task you have ever had to accomplish, even more so than your perilous escape through the foggy forest. Oh! Whoa, it is! That's crazy! Her legs! Oh my gosh, hopefully... Good thing that The text box covers it up, so our main character can't see it. Our main character is stuck reading this at all times. If our main character could see that there. It's not nude under, but I think that doesn't matter that much to our main character. I don't think she's ready to handle seeing a woman's legs. Well, good luck with your finals. I hope you succeed on all of them. Best of luck. Lock in. I'd say study hard, but they're tomorrow, so hopefully you already studied. But thank you for stopping by. Not the misogyny rat. The misogyny rat? Yeah, you know what? I'll take a bribe. I'll take a bribe on this one. Yeah, it's Gay Autistic Women's History Month. We can workshop. We can workshop it. No misogyny rats and no disrespecting the dead rats. I'll name another woman right now. That's not, and Ellen DeGeneres doesn't count. I don't know why she doesn't. She counts as a woman, but she's not the woman I'm naming. The L stands for Let's Go Ladies, and Curse of Butt Bread. I can't affect me. I'm too nonchalant. What woman? What woman am I naming? Sabrina Carpenter feels too easy. I guess I could name an author. Gosh. I want to say her name is Naomi Novik, and I think she wrote the Deadly Education series, which I thought that series was good, but it was also, the main character was kind of flip-floppy throughout it. But I did like the twist. There was it wasn't really a twist. Yeah, Sabrina Carpenter is a woman, but that's like name a celebrity or like name a musician. It's like Sabrina Carpenter. It's like entry level. I like Black Mold Rolling as a title. I think that's what she gets. She is a woman. Just goes to show anybody can be evil and sick and twisted. Oh my gosh, did I tell you guys? One of my friends bought me a book as a gift. It was a book I'd been looking at the store, and I read the synopsis. And one thing that happens to me a lot is, since I like fantasy a lot, I end up with a lot of like TikTok, like book talk romance fantasy books, and it's like, those have their merits, but I want to read like a good fantasy novel. But I usually end up with a lot of like books that I would describe as book talk. But I read this one book, and I've been wanting to get into like a beefy book, and the book is called Alchemized. Hi Poco, welcome in. Thank you. This stream is it's been going. There's beautiful women, and also all the horrors of the world, all the terrible things. But thank you for stopping by. I hope you're doing well. Oh, but the book. Yeah, I really like The Priory of the Orange Tree. I thought that was like a really good fantasy. I think, like, is it the best ever? I'm a sucker for The Hobbit. I just love The Hobbit. But I read this one book and I was like, the synopsis is really fun. I like that. So I got it, and then I was with a friend when I pointed it out. And so for Christmas, yeah, Yeah, it's Harry Potter fanfiction. I didn't know that. It was a gift. And I have to read it anyways because it was a gift. And I'm not going to turn my nose up at a gift. But it is Harry Potter fanfiction. And I am a fool. It's a book called Alchemized. Spelled... I don't know who's supposed to be... Is it... I want to say it's Luna Lovegood. No, who is it? Or is it Hermione? Is it Hermione? Or is it Luna Lovegood? Or is it Hermione and Draco? And the plot synopsis sounded so good. It sounded so good. Should I add a book club chat to the Discord? A book club channel to the Discord? Heard. After stream I will do that. Because clearly there are lots of books we need to be discussing. This and also the one with the evil curtain story. Not the evil curtain, the yearning curtain. I will say, I've been giving enough cursed book recommendations. I've only read the first one because I'm waiting for the fourth one to come out. But if you want a good book about like necromancers, I really enjoyed the Gideon the Ninth book. I only read the first one. Because the first one was kind of, it was a difficult read. Like not in terms of content, it was just like kind of hard for me to wrap my brain around, so I want to reread it, like read the whole series all together. So I'm waiting for the last one to come out, but that is a good series about necromancers. Yeah, I'm like, I read The Night and the Moth recently because I liked the concept of it. And there were things I did enjoy about The Night and the Moth. I could not understand the main love interest rolled up and immediately beefed with each other, like just immediately for no reason. They were beefing. It's a fun one, and it was very helpful because it had a guide at the beginning to kind of explain who the characters were, which I really needed because it kind of introduces like a good amount of characters at once. I'm gonna have to reread it at some point, but I just need the fourth book to come out, so then I will have all of them and I'll be done. But The Night and the Moth, there were things I liked about it, but it was the most book talk book I've ever read because the main character like beefs, like some knight rolls up or whatever and she's like, I hate this guy, he's an asshole, and the knight's like, oh, you stupid, like, you get prophecies, idiot. And then they're like obsessed with each other. And the only way I was able to digest the book, because I had to start over because the relationship was so jarring to me. I mentioned it to one of my coworkers and she was like, oh, like they're so annoying that they're like drawn to each other. They're both like, they just kind of want to pester the other one so bad. And I was like, if I read this as they're both the worst people ever, then I can get on board with it. But I was not able to get on board with this until I had that mindset for it. Oh no, every time I see the Fourth Wing stuff, I'll see like merchandise from it at the bookstore and I'll be like, oh, it's such a shame. I do want a really good book about dragons. That's crazy. It's weird that it's getting a TV show too and not like a movie. I feel like a movie series would be better. Not that I've read it, but I don't know. I was just thinking anything for it is not the same vibe as Alchemized, I think. It is also like a beefy read. One thing, it was very weird because I really enjoy fantasy, but it kind of almost felt a little bit like sci-fi a little bit, or like futuristic. I don't know. I'll have to reread it. It's been a hot minute, but that's my recommendation for good books about necromancy. I'll try to find more. I do want to read more books with necromancers in them because my D&D character is a necromancer, though I haven't played in a hot minute. Why, it seems a small miracle you can still remember how to breathe.
That's much better. Thank you, dear one, for your help. You've not been here for a full day, but I already wonder what I'd do without you.
Shyly, you assure the princess that you did nothing really, nothing beyond your job. You did not do anything incredible. And in any case, being complimented by somebody so pretty is embarrassing.
Aw, don't be like that. I want to compliment you. Why shouldn't I, when you've been so helpful? It'd be rude not to, and anyway. I think you're very pretty too.
Oh my goodness, she thinks we're pretty? Oh my. Your face flushes from this more deeply than ever before. You ought to count yourself lucky, really, with all of this excessive blushing, that the princess does not seem to possess any vampiristic tendencies. Are we... Are we sure? Are we sure about that? Are we looking at the same person with our own two eyes? Yeah, You're making yourself quite the easy target. I mean...
Now, the princess declares, why don't we go for a walk? It's a nice enough day and I get so very bored of being cooped up inside.
You can't think of any particular objections to raise to this remark, and you think that the princess might have a point. The castle, though expansive, is somewhat stifling. The walls are so very thick, they put you in mind of a crypt. With your acquiescence assured, the princess quits her chamber, her posture elegant and her gait unhurried. She seems not to walk as she navigates her way through the seemingly endless hallways of her home, but to float like a cloud. The hem of her dress swishes around her legs, and her hair shifts like a shroud. The castle's courtyard, meanwhile, is sadly lacking in comparison to the princess's beauty. Oh, it's got a strange sculpture. I love strange sculptures. The courtyard is fenced in by castle walls, which look, in the stark midday light, tall and imposing, faceless soldiers standing in sentinel. Though the sun is out, it is not particularly bright, and neither is it particularly warm. The courtyard itself, meanwhile, is in a state of disarray. The flower beds are in shambles, all overgrown with weeds. It is rather depressing. The princess's castle might be grand in scale, but the courtyard itself is simple, hemmed into a claustrophobic degree, like a coffin. We would know. The princess, however, seems not to share your dolorous mood. She instead looks elated by her newfound surroundings, her smile unwavering. She gambols about like a lamb, flitting hither and thither as she examines the weed-infested flower beds. Her frolicking comes to a cease, however, by a bush. One is full of bright red roses.
Oh, how very pretty. Do you not think they are gorgeous, dear one?
The flowers are not too disappointing, you suppose? They make for a fine spectacle, in fact, a welcome splash of color when contrasted with the dullness and drabness which permeates the rest of the courtyard. Though the other flowers in their beds are wilted, withered things, it is not so for these roses. They are a rich, bright red, just like blood, their heads so full that they seem almost to droop beneath the weight of their own engorged petals. They are pretty, in a sense. But there's something unsettling about them too, something that is almost obscene. Aren't roses like the only flower, or one of the few flowers that like you can like give them blood and that helps them grow? Just some food for thought. How did those roses become so very red?
What has been sustaining them?
Could it be possible that these roses have been draining the life from the other flowers which are struggling to grow within this garden? It is a fanciful thought, but...
Oh, they are simply divine. Looking at these roses always lifts my spirits.
I've totally lost the voice.
They really are my most favorite flowers. I simply must pick some of them. Perhaps I can use them to decorate my bedchamber. It could use a bit of color.
The princess reaches out so as to pluck one of the roses free from its resting place among its brethren. You watch her, your breath bated, anxious that this gesture might result in perforated flesh and bright red blood. But the princess is not as clumsy as you fear. Yeah, go for it. Live your truth. Of course she is not. Who did you think she was? You? Oh, this narrator is so mean to us. Well, huh. Huh. Well. I suppose. I like the advice that specifically says you could do that on plants you want to smoke. I guess that's, well, reduce, reuse, recycle. That's what I think. I think. Do I? No. I said earlier for the human furniture short story that if I view it from the lens of it being more respectful to not let a body go to waste, then I suppose I could give this person the benefit of the doubt. I think that's what I'll do. I guess. Rather than worrying about other people, you would be better served if you worried more about yourself. The prince... Well, I think I'm not going to give the benefit of the doubt to the person who said to use it for plants you want to smoke. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's like... I've heard if you pee on lemon trees, it helps, like, the lemons grow better. And I'm like, yeah, but then you're eating piss lemons. So why would you do that? I think that's how I feel about this. I'm like... I'm gonna say it's unconventional. And I'm not a fan. But I'm gonna say using that to a plant that you're going to inhale into your lungs. I'm gonna veto that one, especially. I don't know. I don't know plant anatomy.
The princess holds her newly pilfered rose to her nose and inhales, her eyelids falling shut as the flower's sweet scent washes over her. A few moments of silence pass. Then the princess begins to toy with the petals which adorn the flower's crown. Now let me see. I wonder what fate has in store for me. She loves me. The princess plucks a petal from the flower's overburdened head. She loves me not. The princess continues with this childish incantation, all the while stripping her rose slowly and methodically of its petals. These petals flutter about the princess like bloody snow. The princess's voice, meanwhile, echoes throughout the courtyard, even more melodic than the strains of a pianola? She loves me not. She loves me not. The princess's fingers hover over the final petal which crowns her nearly denuded flower. Then with a triumphant smile she declares, "She loves me, I knew it." You watch the princess, amused by her girlish good cheer. Well, good news for us. I feel like if the answer was she loves me not, I feel like we would have been a little bit cooked a little bit sooner. The little mantra she has been reciting is one that you are familiar with. The girls at the conservatoire also used to engage in this little game, the younger ones at least, who believed that a fairy tale prince would whisk them away. You might have participated in this game yourself when you were a child, but you never pinned your hopes and dreams on a handsome prince. Your interest in princes has always been minimal. When it comes to fair princesses, though, well, that is a different matter altogether, isn't it? Pleasantly you ask the princess whose love it is she wishes to court, a query which makes the princess giggle. Oh, dear one, who else would I be thinking of? Naturally, I was thinking of you. Naturally. She says it so easily, as though you ought to have suspected as much. And indeed, part of you did. It's possible she knows of the mermaid, or that she's been to town once. But it's good to be reassured that we're the only people here. You wanted to believe, yet part of you was afraid to. You did not want to be arrogant enough to assume that the princess might care for your affections. You begin to blush, your cheeks almost as red as the roses, while the princess laughs. She laughs and she laughs and she laughs, her voice clear and sweet like a nightingale's song, as though you're the funniest thing she has ever seen. You never liked being laughed at when you dwelt within the walls of the conservatoire, but it is different with her. You have not known her for all that long, but you are already entranced by her, ensnared. Oh, we will be. She has you wrapped around her little finger. Oh my. The princess's laughter tapers off into a series of giggles as, smiling, she wipes her eyes with the back of her hand. That was quite the amusing diversion, but I've just had an idea. You look at the princess curiously. What idea? You can't tell? Cannot even begin to guess? I just thought that all of this watching must be boring you, the princess says, tossing the rose's strip stemmed carelessly to the ground. I feel like we're gonna poke ourselves. We're gonna poke ourselves on the thing. You should give it a try. Please do. It'll be fun. The princess retrieves the second red rose from the bushes, deftly snapping it between her fingers, and offers it to you. I want to see what fate has in store for you, too. You smile at the princess, touched by her enthusiasm. Indulging in childish games like this might not be the best use of your time, but the princess looks so very determined you would not wish to hurt her. What could be the harm, really, in consenting? The only real casualty of this game will be one singular rose, the rose that the princess is holding towards you. You reach out, meaning to accept the princess's offering, but... Oh no! You are clumsy, and you seize the stem of the rose with a touch too much strength. Ooh! We're bleeding. The head of the rose might be pretty, but there is more to a rose than its bright red flowers. Roses have thorns too, a fact that you are now being painfully reminded of. Pain flares through your finger and you gasp. You take a step back, the hem of your skirt swishing around your ankles. Your finger is stinging, and so are your eyes. We're a little dramatic, I think. You ought to have been more careful. I am wondering. Why were you so stupid? You poor dear, you're bleeding, the princess exclaims, alarmed. Then she frowns. This is all my fault. If I'd not suggested this silly game, this never would have happened. Please, let me take care of you. And how is she going to do that? Perhaps she means to take a handkerchief from her pocket with which she might staunch your wound. Princesses tend to carry handkerchiefs around with them, don't they? Silken ones? How else would they give brave knights tokens of their gratitude once these aforementioned knights have successfully slain dragons? Princesses can hardly dispense kisses as favors. It is simply not done. That is what you always thought, but... Please, hold still. This might sting a little bit. This princess is anything but ordinary. Rather than take a handkerchief out of her pocket, she instead encloses her white, slender fingers around your hand. Carefully, as though she's handling a precious object, she raises your hand, her eyes affixed all the while on the beads of startling crimson blood which are oozing luridly from your wound. She licks her lower lip. Then she dips her head. Yeah, this is... this is crazy. That's like... The thing that's getting me about it is that she licked her lips before she did it. And also she's just putting our entire, like, our finger in her mouth. Just like not even like kissing the wound, but just the whole thing. She parts her mouth and with a soft sigh which borders on the sensuous, she slips your injured digit between her teeth? So much for princesses not dispensing kisses as a token of appreciation. Yeah, oh my gosh, we're kind of like a juice box right now. This might not be a conventional kiss, but feels intimate regardless. Almost startlingly so. This should not be the first move of intimacy in your relationship since we met yesterday. The princess's lips, which are as red as any rose, are enclosed around your index finger. You can feel the warmth of the princess's mouth about your skin and the wetness of it. These sensations make your whole body quake. You did not expect this. Tremulously, in a voice which wavers, you ask the princess what it is she is doing. Oh? The princess glances up at you, her mouth still enclosed around your finger. Didn't I tell you? I'm trying to stop the bleeding. Yes, you gathered as much, but... Is there a problem? I'm not making you uncomfortable, am I? It is not, you say, that she is making you uncomfortable, per se, but that this is rather awkward. You did not expect it, that is all. I'm curious now. It does look really similar here. And is she not worried that this is unhygienic? Unhygienic? The princess blinks. She's the very picture of innocence, which is funny, really, given your finger is still nestled against her tongue. I don't know what you mean by that exactly, but I've heard this is the best way to take care of cuts. My nursemaid used to do this for me when I was a child. It's what you're supposed to do. And you ask, your voice catching in your throat, that her nursemaid keeps staunching her wounds with her mouth when she grew older. Well, no, but my nursemaid was dismissed when I was 8 years old. That's the normal way of things. I had my ladies' maids to look after me then. How very interesting. And did they ever clean her wounds like this? No, the princess says, smiling mischievously. Because I'm not clumsy enough to cut myself, silly. Now that was quite the sharp retort. Yeah. You did not expect it. This is just preparing our immune system. Your face turns even redder, if such a thing is possible, though this might perhaps be to your benefit. With some luck, all of your blood will flow to your face rather than to your finger, and your bleeding will stop. Has it stopped? Your injury was not a deep one. There should be no need for the princess to keep on suckling, but she still is. Ugh. You're not accustomed to intimacy of this nature. It is making your heart flutter. That was awful. Terrible. I wish that was a word I didn't know. If the princess knew what her mouth was doing to you, you are sure she would not be so very familiar. This is scandalous. This is really scandalous to be reading right now. I'm scandalized. You feel quietly, crushingly confident that she would scorn you for your feelings and deem them unnatural. It would not be the first time. Crazy thing for her to be like, oh, she loves me not. Oh, she loves me, I knew it. Who? You! And then to stick your entire finger in her mouth. And then be like, no, this is normal. What? At this point, you should be used to rejection. It still stings, though. It stings much, much more than any thorn on any rose ever could. The days pass following your misadventures in the rose garden, in a relaxed, unhurried sort of manner. Your mad dash through the forest is beginning to feel like a distant memory, so much so you can scarcely recall the raw, naked fear you once felt as you fled for your life. I get the feeling there's going to be a follow-up. That seems important. There's no running to be had while you are working for the princess. You would have nowhere else to run, and in any event, there's no longer any reason to run. The shadow which once tormented you have, at long last, begun to recede. You can scarcely recall, as you lay down in your bed, the petty cruelties you were subjected to by your classmates at the school. They no longer matter. Your attention is focused not upon yourself, but upon the princess. The more time you expend with her, the more you come to care for her. You have become quite besotted with her, but you are yet to realize it. We don't know? Well, I never. How very ignorant can one girl be of her own feelings? The princess is not half so ignorant as you are, though, despite having spent her whole life within the palace's walls. Yeah, this one... I kind of felt like the first one was kind of like domestic lifestyle, a little bit relationship. And then this one, she just put her entire finger in her mouth, so... you know. There's that. The weight of her own feelings are not unknown to her, and during one stormy night, she chooses to make them known to you. You are in the princess's chamber later, perhaps than you ought to be, later than is strictly appropriate. It is dark outside, and there's little save the light of the moon to alleviate that. That and the fire which crackles in the grate. Yeah, totally. I think this one is the most different vibes ever. You have only just finished stoking that very fire, and now you rise. You look to the princess, who is lying in her bed, and you bid her a good night, as you have many nights past. With a neat curtsy, you turn to leave, but the princess's plaintive voice gives you pause. Wait, dear one. Do not go. Not just yet. Perplexed, you pause, then look back at the princess. Though she is smiling, her expression is unusually... Is it wane? I want to say wane. But I feel like it's a new word. Like, I'm thinking of like the waxing and waning of the moon. Is she all right? Oh, I'm sure I'll be fine. It's just nights like this, you know, which make me feel a little out of sorts. And what, you ask, does she mean by that? Only that it is very cold and very dark. And it is very windy besides. I'm afraid there'll be a storm later. It was awfully cloudy earlier when we went out for our walk.
I feel like I have seen it before. I just don't know if I've seen it in that context.
The princess is not mistaken about that. The sky, when the pair of you promenaded about the gardens earlier, was gray and steely, the wind bitingly cold. You can hear the wind rattling mournfully against the panes in the princess's bedchamber. The princess's castle is built of stone, and it is well fortified, but even with the fire, it is rather cold. You do not like to think of how much chillier, by comparison, it will be in your humble bedchamber, which is not fortunate enough to have its own fireplace.
This one, I saved this one for last specifically, because I get the feeling. I also had a feeling this one would appeal to me.
It might sound childish, but I've always found it hard to sleep on stormy nights like this. They make me feel uncomfortable. You look at the princess with no small degree of sympathy. No longer clad in her bright red dress, she looks oddly, uncommonly vulnerable. Will she really be all right, all alone in her oversized bed in her high-ceilinged bedchamber? You know it is silly of you to contemplate such a query. Why would she not be all right? There's nobody in the castle to hurt her, but still, you fret for her. As her lady's maid, it is your job to fret for her. You would never want your mistress to feel unhappy. You ask the princess what it is she would have you do, and the princess perks up at this, pleased perhaps that you were taking the initiative. I wouldn't like to take up too much of your time when it is so very late. But would you mind sitting with me a little while longer? And reading to me? Provided that you can, of course.
That's crazy. Do you know how to read, or are you a peasant?
This is a fair enough question, but your pride bristles regardless. Hastily, you reassure the princess that yes, of course you can read.
That'd be so like, embarrassing to be like, oh, sorry, can't read you a story. No, Lexi, are you nervous about your finals? Or is it just a sleepless night? Well, hopefully you're able to get some sleep. I feel like being sleepy and then going into a test environment. Oh my gosh, it was crazy. If you think you woman, just wait until you find out what this woman did. Stuck our whole leading finger into her mouth. To stop the bleeding, of course. I'm sorry your brain's just whack. Hopefully you are able to get some rest. I don't think this is going to be very soothing, but I don't trust it. I don't trust it. Terrible bacteria. Crazy tension there. Crazy tension. I guess I'll overlook it. I'll overlook the red flags. Thank you for the hydrate tits. I'm losing my mind.
Hastily, you reassure the princess that yes, of course you could read. You were a poor student in many aspects at the conservatoire, but you had something of a gift when it came to the literary arts. Reading books is all you've ever been any good at. Oh, I see. I suppose I should have known. You're so incredible, I sometimes wonder if there's anything you can't do. The princess's high praise makes you flush. Awkwardly, you look away.
See, that's why my glasses are kind of a red and green combo. I can't see any of the flags. I get too thrown off.
Being able to read, you reassure her, is not such a great feat. Perhaps it isn't where you hail from, but it is here. Very few of my old servants could read, and they certainly couldn't read the books that I like. This piques your interest. Intrigued, you ask the princess what books exactly she likes. Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm fond of fairy tales, you see. Old ones from centuries past.
She's gonna have wordy books. Oh gosh. So many new words are entering my vocabulary.
I have a collection of them here, the princess says, indicating a book on her bedside table as thick as a mortuary slab. The book is old though, and the bindings are weak. The pages brittle and the writing woefully old-fashioned. I didn't trust any of my past servants with that book, but I think you would do a good job breathing life into those old stories. Would you mind reading to me for just a brief while? Please, dear one, oh please.
Well, how can we say no to that? Candor is acceptable. Onus, not as much, but we can learn words. I'd learn any words for a beautiful woman.
The princess's request seems a simple one expressed sweetly, so much so you see no reason to refuse her. You take a seat beside the princess upon her luxurious bed, which sinks beneath your weight. Then you retrieve the leather-bound book which is resting upon her bedside table and spread it open. The pages of the book are very brittle, like the princess said, and the bindings of the book are loose. You can feel in the heft of the book's manifold pages the weight of the ages concealed within it. How old is this book? Perhaps it is as old as the castle in which it resides. It's story time. We're reading stories about toxic yuri. And reading a good story can make anyone sleepy. It just goes to show your stinky cat is a toxic yuri fan. Good taste. Hopefully your cat's sleepy state is contagious. It is with a quiet voice, hesitant at first, that you begin to read to the princess. A tale of courtly love which culminates in a lavish wedding ceremony. All the while as you read, the princess listens to you, enraptured, hanging, or so it seems, upon your every word. Once you reach the final phrase embossed on the pages of this aged tome, and they lived happily ever after, the princess sighs as though this tale has touched her very soul. Would that there was some handsome prince to marry me, she says somberly. Or better yet, beautiful princess. At this point, I think I would even settle for a lowly scullery maid.
I've lost the voice. I'll find it again.
You blush at this idle remark and mumble softly that this would not be proper. The storm outside is still squalling, and you have never been one to raise your voice. You do not expect, therefore, that the princess will overhear you, but she does. She observes you, her head resting against her pillows, and says, "And what would be the problem with that, As my maid, shouldn't my happiness become before any silly ideas of propriety?" "Well, of course," you reply. "But for a princess to marry a scullery maid. Yeah, happy pride." "You're still hung up about that," the princess titters. "Don't pay it too much heed. I'm just talking to myself." As if anything like that would ever happen when there's no priest around who would officiate it. You think there are greater issues with the princess's plan than the lack of a priest, though she does present a good point. The castle is an empty one. Even if the princess were to find somebody that she loves, there would be nobody to make such a wedding official.
Even if she were to find we have been... We're so dumb. We're so dumb.
Cannot help but feel like you've avoided a good deal of nuisance. But by the same token, do you not feel a touch disappointed?
I feel like eventually we could just leave the castle and find someone to marry us. Write a letter to one of the other kingdoms and say, hey, everyone's dead. Dead and gone. Help us out.
Well, never mind. That was a nice story, the princess says, but I'm not sleepy yet, and it's still storming outside. Won't you read me one more? You would not mind, you reply, but it is getting late. really ought to return to your own bedchamber. I know, but can't you find it in your heart to read one more story to me? Just one? You can choose a short one. I won't complain. You have some doubts about that, but as before, you cannot resist the princess's demands. It is not, you think, because she's a princess, though that is, of course, a part of it, but because she is, well, radiant. You would not, you think, as you turn to the next story recounted in this aged compendium, want to upset her. You would rather cut out your own tongue. Hey, this goes on long enough, she might do that for us, so. You read another story to the princess, which is of a similar vein to the last, impossible adventures culminating at their close in a happy marriage. This tale delights the princess just as much as the tale you read prior, and she begs for another, then another. One bedroom story soon becomes 5, and even then, when the candles which flicker on the princess's bedside are close to guttering out, the princess is not satisfied. Like a grasping, greedy child, she has never heard of moderation. When she wants something, she seeks to glut herself with it, or only requests that of more. If she were less calmly? Perhaps her inability to adhere to the word no would be seen as a if she were less comely, perhaps her inability to adhere to the word no would be seen as a character defect. Princess is very comely, however, and so when she makes her next request, you must agree offhand without considering the ramifications. I think I could go to sleep now, but the storm is still raging. I feel lonely on my own in this big empty bed, so... I mean, if that's the issue. I know, the princess's eyes light up with the night sky in a thunderstorm. Why don't you sleep with me? Well, don't mind if I do. You stare at the princess, your eyes wide as goose eggs. Slowly, you blink. Then, just as slowly, you bid her to repeat herself. Didn't you hear me? The princess giggles. Maybe you've been so busy cleaning up after me, you've neglected to clean out your own ears. I said, dear one, would you like to sleep with me? If that is the question she truly means to ask, then it is easy enough to answer. Of course you would like to sleep with her. It would be an honor. But would it really be alright for you to accept such an invitation? It must be a gross breach of protocol, surely, for a lowly domestic such as yourself to share bed with a princess. You sit upon the princess's bedside, fretting while she observes with wide, beseeching eyes. She is waiting. Well, what's the matter, dear one? Why do you tarry so? Could it be... The princess's lower lip begins to tremble. Oh, she's gonna cry. Don't you want to lie with me after all? The sorrow present in the princess's voice and in her face makes you feel awfully guilty. Hurriedly, you console her. You tell her, in no uncertain terms, that if she truly wishes to partake in your company, then you have no qualms with it. Yeah, I'm gonna toss and turn and steal all the blankets. Terrible night for all of us. She's really is hitting us with, like, the trembling lip. I'm like, oh, you can't cry. It'd be so mean if we walked away. Why would you? Well then, don't just stand there dilly-dallying, silly. Come and join me, come. And that is what you do, after returning briefly to your own chamber to change into your nightgown. Once dressed, you waste no time in returning to your impetuous princess's side. She is already lying in her glorious four-poster bed, awaiting your return as though you were a knight errant gone away to slay some wicked dragon. The princess giggles when she sees you. In your haste to change, you have made a hash of the buttons, and she bids you come closer. Let me fix that for you, silly. Oh no, you say, I couldn't possibly let you do that. I am but a servant after all. Should it not be your job to dress her? Maybe so, the princess says, but I don't mind a bit of role reversal. It makes things more fun. You try a few more refutations, but in vain. The princess summarily discards all of them. Quite at the princess's mercy, she might be even more stubborn than you are. You capitulate to her demands. You let the princess unbutton the front of your nightdress, then rebutton them so the fabric of your plain gown is drawn shut. I just know last time we had like an intimate moment with someone right before bedtime. The next day we woke up suffocating to death in a coffin. So we can only go up from here. We messed up our buttons so bad that we got our princess girlfriend to fix them. Well, you know, the point still stands. Within the hour. Satisfied with her handiwork, she has very elegant hands. The princess draws back and pats the mattress beside her. Now come in. It must be horribly cold out there, but these sheets are warm. Coyly, the princess smiles. And so am I. You feel warm yourself as you slide into bed beside the princess. Your face is as red as the gown the princess so often wears, as red as the roses in the castle grounds. She's good at this. She's really good at this. All the while, your heart is fluttering. Does the princess know what an effect she is having on you? She definitely does. Surely she must. Oh, she certainly does. How could any woman be so blind? We are so dumb. There, the princess exclaims once your body is lying beside her. That is much better. Do you feel cozy now, dear one? You swallow and, with a shaky voice, you reassure her. Yes, you are cozy. You are quite cozy indeed. Very good. The storm might be raging outdoors, but it can't get us here. I know when I'm with you, I'll be safe. It's strange, but... The princess reaches out, then takes your hand in hers, twining your fingers together like a chain. When I'm with you, I feel so very light. It's as though nothing in the world can hurt me. You make me feel safe, so I want to make you feel safe too. I'll take very, very good care of you, I promise. That's a crazy promise, because the mermaid also said she'd take good care of us when, after we drowned. And the gravedigger also said she would take very good care of our grave spot. So that's fun. You return her smile with one of your own, touched by her thoughtfulness, though something about her promise does make you wonder. Yeah, we're cooked. We're cooked. Should it not be your job to look after her as a domestic? In a way, the princess replies after a pause, but you've been taking good care of me already. Now I need to return the favor. As a princess, I'm supposed to look after my vassals? It's all a part of the job description. We're not, yeah, our skull's not going to be used as a bowl. So upsetting. I think craziest part of that story, if we want to break up the moment a little bit, craziest part of that entire story that's crazy. That's evil. That's despicable. How could you? How dare you? How dare you? We're the only two people left alive, and she is not going to turn us into a cuck chair because there's nobody here to... It's not possible. We're the only two left. She wouldn't disrespect us like that. Thank you. Thank you for apologizing to her. If anything, we're getting turned into a new favorite doll for her. You were unaware that being a princess came with a job description. You thought the profession came with far fewer written responsibilities and far fewer forms to sign than, say, becoming a doctor, or an astrophysicist, or a mathematics professor. What are you guys seeing that I'm not? What are you guys seeing? Am I in the wrong? You know what? 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 Vibe checks are out of my hands. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do anything. No, 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 no. Have your fun. Have your fun. Something, something. Have your cake and eat it too. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe next time I won't look at. Next time the toxic yuri is gonna. I'll find toxic yuri that fits the vibe better. We won't be getting murdered next time. It'll be worse. It'll be worse. We'll survive, but at what cost? Terrible, terrible, awful, awful. Toxic getting cucked, Yuri. That's what's happening next time. See you guys tomorrow. You tell the princess this sleepily and she laughs. It's too late for that. It's too late. It's no regrets here. We have to keep pushing forward. If this is the path we've carved out for ourselves, what is left but to take it? You do say some funny things, dear one. Think you must be tired. Oh, she's British, I forgot. And for what? And for what? You've been working so hard. I think you deserve it. Yes, you think only half conscious. You think you deserve it too. Repent harder. Repent harder, but don't regret anything. You have been working hard for a long time. Have been running for even longer, but now at long last you feel like you can let your fears go. Your eyelids begin to droop. Your body... It's back again. Beleaguered by a sudden, all-consuming fatigue. And in a quiet, understated sort of way, your consciousness is conveyed to Morpheus's kingdom. What do we think is going to happen when we wake up? Your sleep is a deep one, despite the storm which rages outdoors. The wind is howling like a couple of wildcats, both locked in a vicious and bloodthirsty bout to the death, but you do not hear it. Swaddled by the warm blankets around you and soothed by the princess's presence, you are immune from all ills of the world. When you are with the princess, you feel safe, secure, and... yes, you even feel loved. It is a pity, then, that these feelings do not last for very long. You know that something is wrong, catastrophically so, the moment you open your eyes. Ooh, new setting. Ooh. Your thoughts are hopelessly jumbled, but you are certain that when you fell asleep, it was in a bed, a nice warm bed, no less, beneath soft, comfortable sheets. You are not lying in a bed right now, though. You are not, in fact, lying at all. Oh my gosh. Huh. Huh. And they're all in maid uniforms. So we're not the favorite? Interesting. Yeah, fly high. Are we just gonna... You are standing instead against a cold, hard wall made of stone. We're not special. I think that's the part that's disappointing about this, is we're so obviously not special. The curve of your back is pressed against the wall so intimately you can feel its icy chill seeping through the fabric of your nightgown. Your feet, which are bare, are similarly pressed against cold, unfeeling stone. They feel so frigid you cannot help but tremble. You're trembling so much you can feel your teeth chattering together. They sound like castanets. This is so upsetting. The sound is almost jaunty as it echoes through your cell, but that is indeed where you are. The princess's bedchamber, wherein you fell asleep, is a thing now of the past. You are standing, instead, you realize, with a sharp start, in the cell of some great underground dungeon. You swallow, and when you do, you can taste something bitter on your tongue. Your stomach is beginning to churn with anxiety. You feel like you're going to be sick, a feeling which wells up inside you to a staggering degree when you catch notice of the stench. You are not, you realize, the only one in the dungeon. There are others here, Others attired in the simple black and white outfits of servants, which look much like the dress that you once wore. The others who are with you, however, in this expansive cell, manacled to the walls, are in no fit state to speak to you, nor to tell you of their plights. They are all unfeeling, unseeing, unbreathing. They are all dead. Oh my gosh. You cannot approach these servants to check their pulses, for you yourself are restrained, but even if you could, there would be no point. I don't think we need to check their pulse. Not a harlot, oh no. When they say like, oh, like, I don't get any bitches, or oh, I get so many bitches, it doesn't mean you're supposed to like collect them like this. You don't need to, you don't need like to keep them like this. That's not what that means. There's no way any human could survive the wounds which have been inflicted upon these sad, slumped bodies. Oh. Over there you see a woman slumped, the front of her once white apron stained with blackish blood. There's a gaping wound in her stomach, one through which her entrails have half escaped, and some sort of burgundy goop which might have once been pale pink. There's another woman slumped beside the first, of a smaller stature. She is skinnier. Maybe she's not a woman after all, but an adolescent like yourself. She might even be younger. The girl's age, or lack of, did not preclude her attacker from inflicting upon her horrors, alas, for her body is even more mutilated than the first. Her body is peppered with even more wheals, and her face has been half smashed in. Ooh! Only one eye remains, staring fixedly at the wall opposite her, in the ruined remains of what once was her skull. Burgundy goop would be a good color. Gonna roll up to Home Depot and say, hey, can you give me some burgundy goop? Over there you see a woman who's missing both her arms and her lower jaw. Over there you see another who is missing her entire lower half. Where have her legs gone? You have no idea. The injuries inflicted upon these bodies are ghastly, but their advanced decay is enough to turn your stomach. Yeah, this is kind of crazy. I had an idea of where this might go, but so far it's all been like isolated, like the thing happens and it's fine. You know not how long these carcasses have been lying down here, but they have begun to putrefy. You fear a similar fate might befall you should you stay here. You need to escape. Fitfully you struggle against the manacles which bind you, but alas, it is no use. You cannot free yourself from the walls. Is the music too loud? It looks like it's getting kind of loud, but I can't tell. Your restraints are much too strong, and you are much too weak. Panic rises up in your throat, cold and icy, while terror seizes your heart. This too, glacial. Okay, I'll turn it down just the teensiest bit. Oh, I accidentally turned it up, actually. This music is sometimes like so quiet, and then other times it is blasting. Okay. That is hopefully better. Not by much, but hopefully enough. It is obvious that escape is impossible, but still you squirm and writhe like a rat caught in a firestorm. There's little point, however, to your struggles. You succeed in nothing as you attempt to free yourself, save making the steel manacles dig into your abused wrists more sharply than ever. Yeah, this is getting scary. You gasp. That hurts. Well, you ought to have known that would not work. The very definition of insanity is, you know, performing a set action over and over again, hoping for a different response. In that sense, perhaps one could argue optimism is not so very different from insanity. Now, that is an interesting point to consider. Would you not agree? No, evidently not. You are still trying to escape, you foolish girl. As if that would do you any good. The clangorous rattling of your steel restraints is rather starting to get on my nerves. You're making enough noise to raise the dead down there in your dark, dingy cell, and all your screaming is hardly helping matters. I wish that you would cease this infernal racket, but I know you will not. Nothing I say could ever get through to you. Not that you have ever listened to me in the first place. Perhaps you would listen to her, though. Is she not your kind, considerate mistress? Look now, she has come all this way into the dark depths of the castle's cold, inhospitable dungeon to see you. Is that not kind of her? Oh, dear one, the princess trills, entering the dungeon with a series of light, lilting steps. It would seem like you have finally awoken. How are you? Based on all that infernal racket you've been making, it would seem like you have no shortage of energy. Balefully, you turn your head so as to meet the eyes of the princess. She is standing but a few paces away, beneath the roughly hewn stone arch which bids one entry, but rarely ever an exit to the dungeons. The dungeons are dull and drab, but the princess is wearing her favorite red dress. It is so bright and brilliant that for a few moments, it hurts you to look at her. Once, the red of the princess's outfit made you think of romance. Now, it makes you think of violence. It is very... It evokes imagery. You must forgive me for leaving you down here for so long. That was unfair of me. I did think of waiting here with you by your side until you awoke, but... Once again, the princess giggles, a light, airy giggle which does not at all suit the situation in which you have found yourself. A dungeon is not a fit place, after all, for a princess. It is horribly cold here, and so very drab, and there is nowhere nice and soft to lay my head. I could have brought my pillows down from my bed, I suppose, and my blankets. But then they would have gotten dirty, and that would be a disaster. I need to be more careful. I won't have anybody left to clean up after my messes soon, not when I've dispatched of you. Once again, the princess laughs. Her laughter is light and lilting, like the chime of a silvery bell, but it does little to alleviate your concern. Well, I mean, we are standing up, apparently, so that it'd be hard for her to lay on us if we're fully standing up. If anything, it makes you feel even more alarmed. Did she say she meant to dispatch of you? Yes, that's right. Could you not tell? Thought you might have figured that out already, after waking up in a dungeon, silly. Still smiling, the princess takes another step towards you. Would that you could, you would cringe away from her, but you cannot. You are completely powerless. Well, she's having a good time, I guess. The princess reaches out and places a hand upon your cheek. Her skin is very white, and the thought of her touch is cool. It is less so than the frigid air in the dungeon. Though your body is aching, the princess's touch is gentle, and you find yourself leaning into it subconsciously. You wish she would keep holding you. You wish she would keep touching you. I don't think we're going to be wishing that for long. You luxuriate in her kindness as best you can. But though the princess's caresses are tender, your circumstances rather undermine them. How can you relax like this? This is insane. This is so insane. Oh my gosh. She's about to, like, make an art piece out of our ribcage. And we're like, I wish you would hold us. What? You're such a good girl, the princess says, in a cajoling sort of voice, as one might address a cat. You've been so lovely to me while we've been together. I really couldn't ask for a better servant. I feel as though I've been spoiled. Why, then, you ask her, is she doing this? Improbable though it sounds, she must be the one who chained you up. There's nobody else in the castle who could have committed such a feat. Everybody else is dead. Why, yes, how very astute of you. I was the one who orchestrated all of this, naturally. Naturally, she says, as though her betrayal is a matter of course. Naturally. Why, you ask, is this so natural to her? What does she mean to do with you? Oh, only what I've done to all my other servants. I've experience with this sort of thing, so please don't worry. I'll take good care of you. And by take good care of, she means... Naturally, I'll kill you. There it is again, that word which seems grossly inappropriate given all that has transpired. naturally. There's nothing natural about this. Do you not think so? The princess examines you, her expression ponderous. It's natural to me, even if it isn't natural to other people. This just feels right. Imprisoning her servants in the dungeon and letting them die? Yes, exactly. There is a bit more to it than that, though. Oh, of course there is. I like you, dear one, the princess says, in a voice which sounds uncommonly serious. You have been good to me, like I said, and kind. For that, I will be eternally appreciative. You have been so good to me, in fact, that simply being with you is not enough. Not anymore. Your company can no longer content me. I'm a greedy, selfish girl, you see. The princess's smile widens into something sinister, her eyes flashing with a fiendish fervor you have never before witnessed. I don't want to feel you beside me. I want to feel you inside me. Okay. Well? Of all the things your charming captive could have said, you did not expect that. The princess, perhaps noticing your confusion, begins to giggle, a giggle even lighter than meringue and just as airy. It is just as inoffensive. Yeah, I can see the road we're going down. I can see that you don't understand, dear one, but you aren't the only one. My last lady's maid said that too. Vainly the princess sighs, a beleaguered woe is me sigh which makes her look even younger than the scant handful of years she truly possesses. And the one before that, and the one before that, and the one before that. I thought that you, at least, might be able to appreciate my point of view, but perhaps not. I don't think it should be too complicated to grasp, really. But maybe my way of looking at the world is a little bit unique? That's what my nurse used to always say, at least. When she still had the breath to speak, of course. You look at the princess. Where else is there for you to look, really? Your eyes affixed to her face. She's still smiling, but there's something sinister about her smile. She's the first one who's just been straight up evil. Unless, like, we could make assumptions about the other two. Like, it is possible that the gravedigger buried other people that we don't know of. It is possible that the mermaid drowned other people that we don't know of. But, like, when they explained it, they were like, oh, I'm doing it because you're my favorite. Yeah, they didn't have confirmation of it. And they weren't doing it out of, like, I'm gonna kill you. Like, there was nothing you could do. I was gonna kill you anyways. But out of, like, a weird, like, sense of something. Sense of, like the mermaid, I think, did it kind of out of a... I don't want to say fear. Maybe not fear of losing us specifically, but fear of losing something. And the gravedigger, she was like, this is what I do. Like... And this girl's just like, yeah, I kill my mates. I kill all my mates. I kill all my mates and I'm gonna kill and eat you. And she's just having a good time. She's just genuinely evil. She's not doing this out of like, what? Or perhaps, in your anxious state, you're only imagining that there is something sinister about her smile. It is easy to see things which do not really exist when your surroundings are festooned in shadows. In actuality, however, the princess does not look any different to how she usually does. Neither is she acting any different to the way she usually acts. She's not changed. It is only your perspective of her that has changed. Tremulously, you ask the princess what she means, a question the princess is only too happy to answer. It's simple, really. Like I said, you were wondering, weren't you, why there weren't any guards or any servants in the castle when you first arrived here? The question had crossed your mind, yes? We're sure that the princess said her minister sent them away, though. Was that a lie? I wasn't being wholly truthful, no. I thought that you would be afraid of me if you knew what had actually happened, and I didn't want that. I wanted you to stay with me. My ministers didn't send anybody away because I don't have any ministers. I dispatched of them too. Girl, she killed everyone and they just let her do that. Did she now? You suppose you ought not to be surprised, but you still shudder regardless. My ministers weren't very fun, I'm afraid. They had a lot of ideas about what I should and shouldn't do after my parents died. The princess stares at you, her eyes wide like black holes, empty, yawning abysses. So I killed them. I killed my servants too, though I did a more thorough job with them than I did my ministers. Did not care for my ministers, you see. They were all fusty old men, but I did love my servants. I loved my ladies' maids, and my undermaids, and my scullery maids, and my housekeeper, and my cooks, and my large retinue of retainers. They were like my family. They raised me in my parents' absence, and I adored them. They were so very dear to me that I had no real choice. I had to eat them. Does that follow? Not logically, no. Why, you asked the princess, your voice trembling, would you eat the people that you love? That's my thing, right? I do think about, like, the like, oh, like, whenever there's, like, cannibals in media like this, and they're like, I'm doing this because I want you as part of me forever. And it's like, the nutrients will be gone eventually. Yeah, cannibalism as not a metaphor. And it's like, that's such, like, an impermanent thing. I think the furniture is maybe a better metaphor that, like, lasts. I love Butcher Vanity so much. That's such a good song. Thank you, Flavor Folly, for your service. It seems a poor way to repay them for their kindness. Well, why wouldn't you eat the people that you love? She would love that one author I was talking about earlier. I don't think there could be any greater way of showcasing one's gratitude unless you have any better ideas. You weren't expecting the princess to turn the tables on you quite like this, and dumbfounded you stare at her. We better start thinking. You know precious little about love yourself, so it is hard for you to form a convincing rebuttal, but you muster up a few token arguments. You tell the princess that eating people isn't very nice, and neither is it strictly legal. Oh my gosh. Just read through the whole book. I couldn't even do that. That book is scary. A better way to show your gratitude to your servants would be increased wages or increased holidays, dental insurance. The princess listens to your arguments, her expression astute, like a student poised to take notes in a very important lecture. Once you are finished, however, her concentration fails her. Her shoulders begin to shake, but it is not with remorse for what she has done. Instead, she is laughing. Oh, dear one, that's very funny, but why should I care about the law? I'm a princess. One day, I'll be the queen. You killed everyone! There is nobody here to make you the queen! I am the law. That is a good point, but would eating people not turn her subjects against her? What subjects? I'm no fool, you know, no matter how I might act. And I know what happens beyond the castle's walls. I know all about the plague. Once I might have had a populace to govern, but they're all gone now. I'm a princess in nothing but name only, a monarch without any subjects. Don't you think that's sad? I know I do. It's so woefully lonely. If she feels lonely, then why has she been systematically slaughtering all of her domestics? It doesn't make a lick of sense. Perhaps not to you. Gently, the princess caresses your cheek. But I shouldn't judge you too harshly. As much as I like you, dear one, you are a commoner. Perhaps you can't understand the intricacies of my thoughts. Privately, you doubt that anybody would be able to understand the intricacies of the princess's thought process, largely because it is unreasonable. You do not say that, though. Instead, you ask her the only question you can think to ask, with your weary throat which is sore from shouting. Why? Why, you ask? The princess blinks. It's because I don't want you to leave me, of course. Everybody leaves sooner or later, whether they have pledged their allegiance to me or not. That is simply the way of the world. People are fickle and inconstant, even to me, a monarch.
They leave you because you kill them. That's what happens. When you kill people, they die.
That is why I decided to eat my servants. I had no choice, you see. It was the only way to ensure that they would never leave me.
That's not, again, the nutrients aren't permanent in your body. There's like a whole system.
When you think about it, they should be grateful that I would demean myself so, to consume their flesh and blood. I'm a
I've seen this word before. Magnanimous
ruler, you see, and I treat all of my subjects equally. I love every single one of you. And naturally, I love you too.
She loves us!
You've been awfully nice to me, and you are very pretty alongside it. If you were a plain ugly girl, perhaps I would not shower you with affection quite as intense as this, but you've captured my heart. I think you're lovely. So, I'll bestow upon you the highest honor I can conceive of.
We have two cats who are really invested in this in this doomed Yuri. That's good. Sock's cat earlier, and now your cat. This is just... They know what's up. They know what's up. They know what's up.
I want your body to mix with mine, then we can stay together forever and ever. The princess leans in. You can feel her soft, silken hair brushing against your cheeks.
I need her to stop talking. I'm tired of the British accent. It's getting worse.
You can feel, too, the warmth of her breath as it goes against your skin. It is cold in the dungeon, but the princess's close proximity is, perverse though this might sound, something of a comfort.
I think that a lot of these things could... Like, she's like, I don't want people to leave me. So she locks them in the dungeon, but then she kills them. But it's like, you could just leave them in the dungeon. They can just stay in there. You don't have to kill them when you do that. Take a page out of Toma's book or whatever.
Her eyes are wide and her lips are so red. Her smile, meanwhile, is so sweet. I've been doing my best to fulfill the role that fate has dictated for me, but really... The princess exhales. Her eyes, which are boring into yours, are like two dark tarns. Finally, you think you can see, in the alarming lack of light, the lack of anything in the princess's gaze, some degree of humanity. It gets so lonely here. But this brief flicker of understanding which passes between the pair of you is soon cut short.
I feel like we're about to get stabbed. She's about to bite us. She's gonna bite us.
The princess dips her head. She parts her lips, which are as red as the petals of a carnivorous flower.
She's gonna bite us.
You feel the princess's breath against your neck. It is warm in the icy chill of the dungeons, and you shudder from it. For a few moments, you think that this overture of the princess's could be romantic in a way. But this too comes to a swift, merciless close. The princess's mouth is on your neck. The princess's teeth, sharp as needles, are in your flesh.
The sounds! Ugh.
The princess is draining your blood. She is supping on it in great greedy gobbets like a hungry animal, one who cannot truly comprehend the harm it is causing. Even as the princess sups from you, her arms twined around your waist, you find you cannot hate her. She is far too unworldly.
I feel like the CG is not fully capturing what's going on.
You are sure as your consciousness begins to fade that the princess was being sincere when she spoke of her love for her past servants. This is simply the way the princess expresses this great love of hers, a love which is so very abundant it borders upon the monstrous. It is a love you never thought that you would ever experience. This love of the princess's eclipses anything you have ever known before. It eclipses sanity. It eclipses reason. It eclipses all notions you might have once had of right or wrong. The princess, as you know full well, does not care about such concepts. You've always possessed a stubborn core nestled beneath your weak-willed exterior, but the princess is even stubborner than you are. In the face of her love, you have met your match. The princess draws back. Desperately, you gasp for air, but she does not give you any quarter. As before, she dips her head, her red lips redder still with your blood, then splits apart her jaw. Her teeth, which are impossibly, inhumanly sharp, glint wickedly like knives. Then she tears out your throat. The front of your nightgown was white once. Now it is red. There is so much blood, you can smell it when you inhale. I don't think we can inhale. I think the pipe to our lungs just got eviscerated. Sharper than metal. It's so potent you can taste it on your tongue. You try to inhale, but this task proves to be beyond you with what with the twin perforations that have ruptured your skin. Your attempted breaths, when they escape your lips, sound like sad, sorry wheezes. Your whole body, meanwhile, feels as though it is on fire. You make for quite the sorry sight indeed. But you'll forgive me if my sympathy is limited. You did bring this upon yourself, you know. You reap what you sow, and in your case you made a series of bad decisions which led to your untimely demise. Now, what do you want to do? Will you accept this fate of yours and rest in peace, or will you try to fight against it? Who am I to tell a woman no? But, really? You're fine with being eaten alive in a dark, dingy dungeon than being left to rot? That does not sound like a very satisfying ending to this particular narrative. But if that is what you want, then so be it. I do not mind indulging you. That is what I have always done, after all, from the moment we first met. I have dedicated myself tirelessly to answering your wishes, and this is no different. Do not be so foolish to think, though, that you can escape me, even if your life's blood has mingled with that of the princess's. I'm not going to relinquish my hold upon you that easily. I did pledge, after all, to remain by your side, come what will, fire or flood. I will never leave you. You will never be lonely again. Okay. Wow. That's fun. Okay. Well, that's what I'm about to... Hold on, there's a... It's locked. It's in the gallery. Next page. Next, okay. Well, let's return. I wonder if the fourth route is going to be as long? I don't know. I don't want to like... Oh, wait. Go back. Oh, shoot. Return to the main menu. Load. We'll fight against our fate. That is a good answer. I must admit, I like it. It is impressive how very defiant you can be, even in a situation as discomforting as this. Now, try not to cry. Keep your chin up. This is but a minor setback in your story. Like all fair maidens, you are deserving of your own happy ending. You need only the strength to try and seek it out. Why don't we give this another go? Just try not to ensnare the hearts of any more monarchs, particularly those with unusual appetites. You are destined for far higher purposes than being an entree, and there are vastly more enjoyable ways to be eaten in this world. Wow! Your fate is, once again, in your hands. Now I wonder, which path will you take? Oh. Give up. So, you've come back here, have you? That does not come as much of a surprise. Though presented with 3 potential paths, it is not as though traversing any of them would have any particular impact upon your ultimate fate. In the end, you are always destined to return here. Did you really think you had a choice? How hopelessly naive of you. I thought that you were smarter than that. Your breath, which once escaped your lips in sharp, ragged gasps, is now on the verge of petering out altogether. Your lungs feel deflated as though they have been punctured. Your blood is rushing through your temples in a heady, overwhelming surge. Your stomach, meanwhile, has twisted itself up into knots. Your body feels heavy, your legs in particular. They no longer wish to obey you. Take a stumbling step forwards and your foot gets caught in a tree root. You are certain you have passed this root once already, that you sidestepped it. But perhaps your memory is beginning to fail you, just like the rest of your body. Oh, I just got an achievement called the Witching Hour, and it says, "Is it almost time for me to make my grand entrance?" You gasp, surprised, and pitch forwards, dull and senseless like a sack full of potatoes.
Oh, we are so sad.
Your arm hits the ground with a crack, one which makes you cry out in pain. Tears begin to beat on your eyes, wet and salty, tears which you cannot well, you are not as resilient as the gravedigger, nor as carefree as the princess. If you lived underwater like the mermaid, then nobody, at the very least, would be able to tell that you are crying, but you do not, and I can. Believe me, I can. Your arm aches dreadfully, but at least you can still feel it. Your poor feet, meanwhile, have gone quite numb. You would try to stand had you the energy, but you know as you sit there dazed that this would be a futile effort. You cannot stand, not any longer. It hurts too much. You really have been through a lot tonight, haven't you? I fear I have not been very kind to you. But you ought to be accustomed to hardship. Why, then, are you crying? You always have been a crybaby. That is why they teased you so much. It is because they knew they would be guaranteed a reaction. You are very predictable. Even now, after you tried to borrow my power for your own purposes, you have not changed at all. As you sit there sobbing, you hear, or you think you can hear, footsteps approaching you. There, to your right, is the snapping of a twig. To your left, the telltale rustle of leaves. Your every sense feels razor sharp, honed to a knife's point by anxiety.
I think the narrator is Yuri God. Yuri God is about to get us.
You are so panicked you feel as though you are going to be sick. You want to vomit, then why not? There is no shame in it. There's nobody here to judge you. Nobody but me. I have always been here, you know. I will always be here, no matter how fast you try to run or how far. Did you really think you could escape me?
Yeah, you think you can enter into toxic Yuri and live, and for that, you've got to be punished for your crimes.
Poor sweet child. Poor little fool. I did tell you, did I not? The contract with a witch is binding. No amount of physical distance between the both of us could ever sever it. I told you I would never let you be lonely, and I meant it. But I have had rather enough of these little games. It is time for me to collect my collateral.
Well, collect away then. Okay. Wow. Collect whatever you want. It's yours. Why was I running again? Why were we running? Oh my goodness.
A soft gasp escapes your throat as you feel my arms wind their way about your back. Naturally, you know whose arms they are. They are mine. I've been watching you all night. This is the first time I have reached out to you in so direct a manner.
I can't tell if it's the makeup or the lighting. I thought it was the lighting, but I don't know. Maybe it is makeup because it's a skeleton. Yeah, I thought it was the lighting at first. No, I see it now. I think I was very distracted. The design, it's not the same, but like it reminded me of, I can't remember, the witch from Soul Eater. I got that vibe from this, so I kind of locked in on that. I really like the highlights being bones. That's so good. It's so, so good.
Did you not expect me to be so forward? I can hear your heart fluttering in your chest. It is beating very quickly like a startled rabbit's. Your breaths are short and sharp. It is a cold night, and though I am holding you, you are still shaking. I wish you would not tremble so. Everybody fears the unknown, but we are not strangers. We have spoken before, have we not? When you first called me forth from the ether using that book you found in the library. You were desperate enough then to turn to the occult for help. You pleaded with me to use my magic for your behalf. You begged me. You implored and you entreated and you wheedled and you whined, and though I had some reservations, you forced my hand. I had no choice, not in the face of your desperation. You did not want to be lonely anymore. You wanted to have a friend, somebody who would always be there for you, no matter what. You wanted somebody to love you. Is that not what you demanded of me?
Yeah, where can I get this book?
Is that not what I have given you? You might think me wicked, but I think you're being awfully cruel yourself to run from me after I made all your wishes come true. I did think, about punishing you for running away from me. I thought of poking out your eyes so that you might never see anybody other than me. Thought of cutting off your long, lovely hair so that nobody might ever think you beautiful but me. Thought of breaking your legs so that you might never be able to escape from me.
Classic yandere. Wow, iconic.
I turned all of these intriguing ideas over in my mind, but I am a merciful witch. Though you hurt me, I did not wish to hurt you. You asked, after all, that I love you, and that is what I did. I have drowned you in my love. I have buried you beneath my love. I have swallowed you with my love. You have always been a sad, lonely girl, one who has been starved of affection. Nobody has ever cared for you. Your life has been a barren, empty wasteland, one devoid of any fonder feelings. That is why I had to drown you, you see. That is why I had to bury you. It is why I had to swallow you. In the end, I was doing you a favor.
Were they all her? Was I right? Were they all her? Oh my gosh. I was wondering.
I was doing it all for you. In that sense, you are very lucky. Do you know that? There are few people in the world who have had the privilege of being loved to the brink of insanity quite this many times in one night.
I was like, if she's so obsessed with us, if the narrator is so obsessed with us, there's no way the narrator is letting us go off and hang out with other women.
There are few people in the world who can claim to have been loved by a witch. You have experienced so much love it ought to have slaked even your unquenchable thirst. You know now what it feels like to be adored. I have more than upheld my end of the bargain. Now I think it is time that you do the same. From this night forth, you and I will always be together. Then I shall be able to love you endlessly. You will never be lonely again.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Wow. Hold on. Where is it? Go back. Where is it? Notes? Cinema! Cinema! Taste in my mouth and it's... oh my gosh. I don't know. I don't even know. That was beautiful. That was... the writing was so eloquent. That was really good. There's... okay, do we have... do we not have that? Like, is there like... okay. I guess this one's just... we just don't get that one. I wonder... if we were to start a new game, if anything would happen. I don't think anything would, actually, and it's so late for me.
Let's read the note. Hello everyone, this is Ebby. Thank you for taking the time to read It Gets So Lonely here. I hope it was an enjoyable experience. Ebby, I owe you my life. I owe you my life. I usually leave a few notes in my visual novels to explain what inspired me. So, oh, is this long? Oh my gosh, okay. So I guess I'll do that now. Let me see. This is really long and I've got to wrap up. I will scroll through. The Orphan's Tales is what inspired this one a lot. 2023 Yandere Game Jam. Okay, I'm so sorry. I'm just kind of scrolling through very slowly. Well, I mean, the mermaid, they say the mermaid's route is the weakest. I like the mermaid. Yeah, I'm just gonna slowly scroll through this. And if you guys want to go back and read it, you guys are gonna have to just go through the effort. It is interesting. I kind of forgot about the fact that they don't have names. I feel like the princess was a really good one to end on. The princess is just so extreme. But I feel like the gravedigger was the first, like, a really good route to really get me, like, sinking my teeth into this, I guess. Let's see, writing in second person. I really like the second person. I feel like it made everything just a little bit more interesting. And like the main character is so obviously just wanting to catch a break. Yeah. Though I do wonder, I don't know. The princess almost seems like inhuman. I don't know if the princess is fully human, if I'm being totally honest. I don't know what she is, but she probably is just human, but she was a little bit scary at the end. Slay the Princess. I have not played that, and I really want to play Slay the Princess at some point. It just seems like such a big undertaking. The art was also really, really good. Oh no! You do have to go through the story again. I was wondering. Okay. Well. Skip button? Is there... I got an achievement. I don't remember how it started. There's no way she killed everyone. Oh. Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. Settings. Text speed, auto delay. Go. Give me the thing, please. I don't have time for this. It's bedtime. I need to go to sleep. It's new dialogue. What the... Sick and twisted to do this. No, there's no way this is happening. I'm not... It feels weird to do a whole nother stream just for, like... We already read through everything. We read through the game. What else would there be to do? I can't make it go any faster. Is this double speed? Double speed. We might be able to do this. Look how fast that's going.
Okay, fight against your fate. Yeah, okay. Go to the village. We're gonna do it. We're gonna see all the pictures. We're gonna see all the toxic yuri, and then I'm going to sleep. But actually I won't, because I'm gonna be thinking about a beautiful woman biting into my neck until I die. If I need to spot something, I simply won't be doing that. Okay. Go to the castle. We deserve a happy ending. There she is! I love her. I love all of them. Even if they're all a little... Oh, there's that. Normally skip buttons will stop. Fight against our fate. Oh, you wish to keep going, do you? That is impressive, given this is the second time you've been devoured so heartedly. Of all the demises you've experienced, this one is the most gruesome. If you are tired of these repetitions, I would understand. I'm not the wicked witch you might think I am, and I would be willing to show you mercy should you want it. But I can tell you that you do not want it. I'm exactly where I want to be. Goodness me, you are stubborn. Why, I ask you, do you continue to fight? There's no escape for you, you know. I will never let you leave, no matter how you struggle. I think the game is free. So, I'm pretty sure that it might not be free. I feel like I got it free, though. I think it might be a free game. Don't quote me on that. But very well. Let us go back to the beginning once again. Your fate is in your hands. Or so I once told you. You ought to know now, however, that this was never truly the case. You still belong to me. I am not going to let you get away from me, not that easily. You can struggle as much as you want, but it will be in vain. It does not matter where you go. I will always find you. I can promise you that much. Give up? There, you see? Are you happy now? I told you that there was no use in repeating this night, yet you failed to listen. You have been drowned, buried, and consumed once more, and for what? My personal enjoyment, I think? Yeah, I'm like... Why? Do you not understand why I'm going through this again? Weird. Do you feel as though you've made any progress in your attempts to escape from me? Once again, you find yourself as you were at the end of your last foray into my forest full of nightmares. I say we go back for round 3. You are kneeling upon the ground, your feet aching. Perhaps they are bleeding and your skirt tattered and torn. You try to inhale, but it hurts. Feels as though your lungs have been punctured by a pair of embroidery scissors. When you swallow, you can taste salt upon your tongue. You blink, but it is so very dark in these woods that you fear you cannot see, which is interesting because, I feel like this refers to the princess, and then the salt water, and then being so dark when we get buried alive in a coffin. There's a heavy, leaden weight upon your shoulders. Feels as though somebody is shoveling soil upon you. Your body is cold as though it has been sapped of all warmth. Your blood, which ought to flow through your veins, feels as though it has frozen. That or it has been purged from your body altogether in rust-red gobbets. Have you not had enough of this now, silly thing? I'm saying this for your sake, you know, just as much as I am mine. Though I might have trapped you hence, I did it only because I care for you. This is so good. This is cinema. Abby, I owe you my life. I owe you my life. I owe you $1 million. Don't ever ask me for them, though. Is this a free... If this was a free game, go back and charge money for it. I'll buy it. I will pay for it. I want only for you to realize the folly of your ways. Now, cease your foolish attempts to escape. They will accomplish nothing save stretching your mind beyond its limitations. It has already, I fear, been stretched thin already. Humans are not designed to die, not as incessantly as you have. Abby, go back and charge money for this. Let me give you money for this. I want to go back through and play it a second time.
to read all of it, but I was like, there's no way I'm getting through like the minor differences in routes. It would not be worth it for me to go through and do that. At least not worth it for me to go through and do that on stream. One death would have been enough to finish most of your kind off, yet you have endured 6 of them. You do not want to go through that again, do you? Oh, you don't know me. You don't know me. Then do not run from me. Let me console you. Let me embrace you. Let me love you. What do you say to that? Cat got your tongue, hmm? But we're both alphas? I mean, if I can't play Lip Trip My Boss as my heat suppressant, then maybe we have another option. Maybe we have a replacement for that. Well, no matter. You will not need your tongue to speak while we are together. It is an unnecessary appendage, however much you might wish one day to whisper sweet nothings to me. I'm an all-powerful witch after all, and I can hear all of your thoughts. I know what you are thinking. Yes, that is right. Silence is golden, as they say. You do not need to speak. You do not need to blink. You do not even need to breathe. Now that you are finally mine, I will cut off your tongue and I will pluck out your pretty little eyes and I will... No. I beg your pardon? What was that, dear one? Oh! Is she gonna say something? I said no. Getting murdered 6 times was our final straw. I am not your dear one. I was wondering about the dear one being from multiple characters. I never wanted this. What? You would defy me still after all you have endured. Were 6 deaths not enough for you, you gluttonous girl? Do you wish for more? I just wished for a friend. I didn't want to be lonely, but you ensnared me. You tricked me. Well, I never. What bold accusations. They are not true, though, you know. They are bald-faced lies. I did nothing of the sort. My name might begin in a similar fashion, but I am no Mephistopheles. I was very upfront when we met. I said if you wish to make a contract with me, it would cost you. It is your own fault that you did not listen. You accepted my terms, and now you are paying the price. Now, if you will come with me, my dear... I am not your dear. Really now, this has all become rather tiresome. I must insist that you cease this childish outburst at once, or else... Or else what? Will you cut off my tongue? Will you pluck out my eyes? You already stole my name. But it's coming back to me. Oh, we're killing it. What? No. That should be impossible. You gave your name to me. You gave your soul to me. You pledged your heart and your body to me, and now I want them back. Tired of these games, too. Medea? You remember my name? I do now. You're called Medea, and I... No, stop it. I'm called Rosette. It can't be. I knew you were stubborn, but... I learned how to be stubborn. I'm used to being bullied. You're just like the others. I'm not afraid of you anymore. You took everything from me, and now I'm taking it back. Go! Go, girl boss! Let's go! No, you can't. Rosette, please. This is crazy. Role reversal again? Don't go, don't leave me. We made a contract, you and I. You said that you wanted a friend, and I promised to be that friend. I promised that I would always be there for you. Do you really mean to abandon me? That was the general idea. And what of me? What am I supposed to do? You? You can rot for all I care. What? No! Rosette! I call after you're retreating back, but you do not heed my words. Do not turn your head. Sorry. So sorry, so sorry. Once it was you who knelt in the dirt, your clothes tattered and torn, your dignity alongside it. I should have, like, I wish there was a way where I could be, like, approve, like, certain links, but it's just so easy for, like, anybody to drop a link. Nightbot is so aggressive. I had one that was, like, too many symbols, and it would be so mean, and I was like, stop that. I still don't know if I fully got rid of it. Once it was you who knelt in the dirt, your clothes tattered and torn, your dignity alongside it. You were so vulnerable then, and you were so very, very beautiful. In a perverse way, however, I think you might look even more beautiful now that you are walking away from me. I hate to see you go, but I love watching you leave. That is a thing you humans say, is it not? Oh, most certainly. You never realize just how much you value something until you no longer have it. It's not all true in my case, however. I knew you were a precious find when you first summoned me. Your fiery determination, even in the face of extreme hardship, endeared you to me. I thought you very noble, really, how you had survived so long in an environment which was so very hostile. For a human, I thought you remarkable. That's why I decided to form a contract with you. I thought with a human like you by my side, my own life of empty, endless wandering might not be so lonely. Goodness me, I must be growing sentimental in my old age. Now you are not the one upon the ground, it is I. I could keep calling for you, but I know it would do no good. You will not turn back from me now, not when I have caused you so much suffering. I did not mean to hurt you so, though. I truly did love you, albeit in my own way. In the end, however, I suppose the love of a witch was too much even for you to endure. Now there's nothing but the milky moonlight and the trees which jut out of the earth about me. They look like monuments built in honor of a foreign god. They look like nothing from the world that you knew, Rosette. Because they are not of your world. They are of mine. Now that you have fled from me, like a bird let loose from its cage, I fear I will never see you again. I will be on my own in this forest for all of eternity. Or until another silly little girl with stars in her eyes and dreams in her heart summons me once more. It has happened a handful of times in the past. It might one day happen again. Until that day, however, I will lie here among the foliage and fog, and I will close my eyes. I will let myself dream. And enrobed in the undulating mist, I shall think to myself. It gets so lonely here. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Cinema. Cinema, absolute cinema. That was beautiful. Genuinely, I'm like, we're gonna have to visit some more of these. This was so... I was really intrigued by the witch, like, or by the narrator, I guess, before we knew. Medea, I guess, now that we know the name. I do really like that, like, there's an option. Like, there's a chance to get the main character stuff, because you go through all this with the main character and you never get anything with her. And so her having her moment was really nice. Love that for her. But I am going to wrap up. Who is live right now? I guess we'll raid into Lunary again. I know I raided into her relatively recently, but we're going to raid into Lunary Draws. But thank you guys so much for being here. This game is so good. This game is so good. This stream was kind of insane, but this game is so good. But thank you guys so much for being here, and I will see you later. Bye bye.